Welcome to episode 2 of the Revolutionary Instigators podcast. Today's topics include
The average person's similarities to Trump, Me Too, Black Lives Matter, and value changes.
That was Ray. I'm Andrew. Welcome to the podcast.
Yeah, bitch. That whiz, man. That shit cranks. It's on Ray, aka Ray, aka Ray Ray. Holla at your boy.
And Andrew, no nickname, Andrew, here again. Here again.
Back at it again.
You almost sounded like Wiz at the end of that.
I mean, look.
Can't even tell that I turned it down and muted it.
Yeah, I like to I like to vocalize in the mirror a lot. See if I can sound like my favorite artist. And Wiz was my favorite artist, bruh.
Oh, okay.
Back when I used to partake in the what did the kids call it now? The marijuana.
No, they definitely don't call it that, but they still partake in it.
Yeah,
It's very strong.
Look, Wiz has done something that it's really gonna be hard for somebody else to do, just because of how saturated the market is. Well, by the market I mean the world is with information. Wiz is I don't see the next artist that's gonna be able to come in and like corner a segment of the market like that, like how Wiz was tailored just to smoking weed.
Did you mean to say Taylor?
Yeah.
Oh, you did?
No.
Pun intended?
Nah.
A
But-
whiz pun.
I just don't see it. Like what do you? I feel like every other like niche thing has enough exposure to where it would have caught on by the mainstream by now.
Yeah, I guess nobody was just talking about it when he came around and talked about it.
No, like people would talk. It's not like nobody talked about smoking weed and doing drugs, but to like make that a theme,
The only thing
That's
you
it.
talked about?
that's it, bro.
Yeah.
Like that's amazing. Shout out Wiz, Taylor Gang. Yeah, bitch. But so yeah. I can't-
Revolutionary Instigators.
Yeah.
Back. Episode 2, we're going to probably call it.
We'll call it 2.
Yeah, maybe.
2.5.
In this, we'll call it 2. The title may end up being 7. Who knows? But
Who
you'll hear
knows?
it.
Hey,
You'll hear it eventually.
as long as you're listening to the content and you're getting the content that the people ask for, it doesn't fucking matter.
These are all the people in Ray's head.
I was gonna say, who are these fucking people?
All the extra people that Ray keeps up there
collaborates
away
with.
from us on a daily basis.
But yeah, so all right, check this idea I had. So like, a lot of people are adamantly anti-Trump, right?
Especially after today.
What, oh, dude? I was working all day. What the
Oh,
fuck did
you said that you got your idea. Let me just tell you real quick what
Okay,
happened.
yeah, go for
So the government's probably going to shut down.
again?
I mean, yeah, it might, but it
Okay.
probably will because Trump didn't get the money for his border wall. So he's upset, and so he's probably going to shut it down. And people
Yeah.
on both sides are pissed at him.
Yeah.
Again, everyone's pissed at him. He's just tweeting and just doing Trump stuff. But not cool. Oh man, I
Nah,
almost called
say
it
it,
cool.
say it.
But
It
there
is.
was some Trump supporters
Uh-huh.
like raised. I saw one Kickstarter raised $11 million. Yeah, for the wall. Now they need like
Billions.
$5 billion
Yeah,
for
yeah.
it, so they don't even have
It's
a
a drop in the
fraction.
bucket.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but they raised like 11. I saw 2, and then later on today I saw 11. Some guy got $11 million for Trump. Trump supporter.
Fuck, that's
Yeah.
a lot of money for a wall. You know what I say? Treat it like the way you do children. You know how when you're having a problem with a kid and they want to do something and you know it's gonna harm them, and you let them do it to a certain extent so they feel a little bit of the pain, so that you can say, "See, I told you." So in the future that you listen to me, like if they say,
Stick something in a light socket.
you know, or they keep saying, "I want to jump off of this thing. I want to jump off the couch," and you keep saying, "No, it's gonna hurt." Then they keep wanting to do it. Then you're like, okay, so you monitor them. You're not gonna let them like jump onto the edge of a table, but you go ahead, jump. It hurts. You pick them up. You say, "Now, do you see why I didn't want you to jump off the table?" Boom. Lesson learned that they're gonna carry on for a long time.
Yep.
I feel like the same thing is true with the border wall. It's like, yo, give him his money. Let him build the fucking wall. Just let him have the proof of let America in let America
That's
as
a lot of money.
It is, but what's money?
Well, the government's shutting down, so
But what I'm saying is like
that means a lot more than just like the people that I sell to and other people, operate with. Like, the DMV might not be up and running for some people at certain times.
yeah, fair. But I mean, I know there's a lot of more logistics that go into it than as simple as I'm making it seem, but it's like give Trump what he wants in order to start this border wall thing happening. Let him work on it. Let him make progress in it, and see that it is not a deterrent for what he's trying to do. If you want to, and I'm one of those people who's pro keeping our borders safe. You can't just let anybody in. And I'm not anti-immigration whatsoever. I think a more diverse population makes America what it is. It makes any country greater. But simultaneously, it is those you can believe that and also believe that just letting everybody in will destroy your population as well. There has to be some like, hey man, like we want to let in other people, but we want to let in the best of other people.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't necessarily pick and choose and say only the best can come to this country, especially because that's not what it was founded on whatsoever.
But the best means I'm not saying just the smartest, the brightest, whatever. I'm saying if you're a good person that just wants to, like, I'm not disparaging anybody that works at CVS, but if you just said I just want to be a person that works at CVS for the rest of my life, provides for my kids and my family, sends them to college, and I'm saying that's the best, right? I'm not saying you got to be the next person to start a new Microsoft or anything like that. But I'm saying the best as in try to let in only the good people.
Oh yeah, I mean,
right?
I agree there.
Try take whatever measures you can
maybe
to take out.
Yeah,
that.
but that shouldn't impact people like it has recently in terms of all these people being put into detainment camps, having their kids taken away,
certainly.
and then I just watched a Vice News special the other day on it was them following the caravan while it comes up from not Guatemala, Honduras through Mexico, and followed a 16-year-old kid who left his whole family, his 6 siblings and his mom behind, to go to the U.S. to find work to send money home to her.
Wow.
And they were just walking, getting food from whoever had it and water from whoever had it. Like they didn't have shit.
That's
and
tough.
yeah, it's crazy. And it's just like he just wants a better life. And then he didn't even end up making it to the border. He stopped in Mexico because the journey was so long, and ended up staying with his uncle, finding a job, and sending money back that way. But other people they followed got to the border, and they showed the line. They were like, all right, give me your name, give me all this. They're like, okay, come back in 3 weeks and check with me to see if you can get in. And it's just like, so they all just camp near the border, and that's what they're doing. They're just sitting there waiting to get into the United States. So they do have some sort of system where they're checking them to see if for whatever, but at the same time it's not very efficient, so that's kind of on us as well.
Of course.
It's like building a huge wall is not going to fix the internal infrastructure of the government that's allowing this bullshit to happen.
Oh, sir.
To the country that everyone's supposed to be able to come to and be a part of,
Yeah, and I'm definitely not making the case that by us instituting a border wall, it's going to somehow alleviate us of all the issues that we're having. I'm making the case that do it because it will make that glaringly clear, so that it takes away a talking point that a lot of people have, so that we can just officially get that shit off the fucking table. Because as long as you're talking about it as a theory, people will latch onto it like, if we build the wall, it'll work. All right, let's build it. Let's prove to you that it doesn't work. Now shut the fuck up and let's try instituting some real policies that will actually help people.
Yeah, that might
I just
work too.
want that argument off of the table because it is so dumb. But we don't have the tangible evidence to prove how dumb it is. It's just a I guess I don't know if you would call it a logical fallacy necessarily, but just because we don't have the proof, people can say, well, you don't know it doesn't work. So technically it works, right? But so, and let me also say,
people say that about religion too.
You
don't know God's not real.
Exactly.
Show me God's not real. What? How am I supposed to prove that?
Some people say cucumbers taste better pickles. Huh?
He woke up dead.
So she had, if a mouse is on the outside, this is a rat, and if a rat is on the inside, is it a mouse?
I think that's true. That's logical, right there. That's the only fact we really know
in life. And that's the shit that blows me. And like, I also gotta say, like, even though I'm pro, I'm like, I lean more conservative on the fact that like we need to protect our borders and all of that. Because I think like, Islamist extremists like are a real thing, that they really want to do harm to America. Like,
yeah, of course,
that shit is no joke. And I mean, for anybody who wants to argue me on that, 9/11,
Well,
Like, for real.
Trump said we defeated him in Syria, and he's pulling everyone out. And Afghanistan, he's pulling most of the troops out there too. So he was just like, "Yeah, we won, we
Fucking-
won."
And like, here's
I think Putin backed him up with that statement. I
For
think
real?
that's who I saw said it.
for real,
Don't quote me on that.
son.
Might just
Putin-
be spouting off not facts here, but
I mean, it's so.
somebody powerful said that Trump was making the right decision, but it was not someone you would be like, "Oh, cool, I trust this guy."
But see, here's the thing: whether that was right or wrong, we're living in a time where I would lean, assumingly, like, yeah, it was probably Putin that said it was Trump. Like,
Yeah.
that's the time we're living in. Where there was another time before that where you would say Putin and Obama were like dapping up, like that would you be like,
Definitely
oh,
not.
you lying, right?
Yeah,
But now we're living in a time where that could be a real thing.
yeah. I I like it because I think Trump's finally like he's experiencing stuff that normal people or not normal people that presidents always experience.
Mhm.
Like, you know, every time they do something, there's always going to be people that are saying you're doing the wrong thing. It's like Obama did that for 8 years, and people are like, you're doing the wrong shit. And now Trump's like, I got this, and he's doing it. You're doing it wrong. Even people that voted for him. So
He had that.
nobody can do the job right. It's not ever going to be anyone that everyone's happy with,
Of course, and
unless it's a panel.
right, and of course, because Trump is a narcissist, I think he truly did believe that he would start doing shit, and then everybody across the board would have been like, "Damn, dog, you're straight killing it, bruh."
Yeah.
Like Democrats and Republicans alike, like, you know what? That is who we needed, Donald fucking Trump. But he's now realizing
that wasn't what happened.
that
didn't happen.
he's realizing like,
unfortunately.
oh, it doesn't matter who I appeal to.
Yeah.
Somebody's gonna dislike what I'm doing. And I mean, I guess
it makes him mad, I think.
Oh, it gets under his skin. I mean, he's a narcissist. That's what narcissists always want to be right. They don't want to be here, and especially when you give them legitimate reasons as to why they're wrong.
We do.
That shit says. But no, okay. Let me get back to what I originally my original thesis.
That was super sidetracked. Right
oh, nah, but dude,
on topic, kind of.
Yeah, but so as much as people dislike Trump and think he's this crazy, narcissistic, which I do believe some of these things, just demagogue, just all of these negative characteristics, I am venturing to say that if we were to take somebody that people idolize like Barack Obama, if we were to take a Donald Trump on one end of a spectrum and put Barack Obama on another end of the spectrum, we as a whole, as people, would fall closer to Donald Trump on the spectrum than we do Barack Obama. So let me give you a piece of. Let me delve deeper into that.
Okay.
So look at who Barack Obama is. Right. He was a senator in Chicago, straight killed it. This young dude that just was killing it in Chicago, which is why he even got the nomination for president, doing a lot of great things there. Got the nomination, was a Harvard lawyer, married a woman from Harvard who on her own, without Barack Obama, would have been a boss. We would have known about Michelle Obama, even if she wasn't Barack's wife. Like, she's that much of a boss, right? And then went on to become the first black president, stayed in office 8 years amidst all these accusations and people just disparaging him, never had a scandal. His family, absolutely perfect. Now, think of how, let's acknowledge that being a black man in America, there are some stigmas placed upon you. People tend to think of you in this certain type of way. So since when you go into all white institutions, you're going to stand out a little bit, like a place like Harvard Law, where he attended, you have to be perfect. You can't be George Bush and go to Harvard and have a C average. You have to go to Harvard and have an A+++ average, right?
Yeah.
So for Barack Obama to get where he got, his record, his reputation, his being had to be flawless.
Yeah.
Flawless.
I don't know many people like that.
I don't know anybody like that.
I feel like I knew a couple people like from maybe elementary school that probably ended up like that. No.
Guess where they are now?
I don't know.
Presidents.
No, they might be. They could
CEOs.
be. They probably are. They're probably in very good positions, but I don't know where they are anymore.
Because they have fucking ascended. They're just in a different stratosphere, right? They're just gone. They're just like, oh, I grew up with this dude.
I agree somewhat that that Trump we're definitely more like him because he's just somehow failed up his whole time. He just keeps failing up.
Juxtapose the Obama to Trump. I mean, just like, yo, we're people who are clumsy, put our foot in our mouths all the time, say embarrassing, awkward statements,
Eat
say,
fried chicken.
oh my,
like he eats
out of
KFC.
shape.
Yeah, on the plane eating fried chicken and Taco Bell. Like
lie about our appearance.
Yeah, and this man takes drugs. He's watching TV all the time.
He is America.
Like, he is.
He is us, yo. And everybody I know in my life and other people.
Nobody wants to admit that at all.
Nobody wants to admit.
No.
I think that's what pisses people off so much about Trump because they're like, God, like
because they aspire to be someone more like Obama, but they are more like Trump. But that's just because a lot of people aren't good at hiding it. And that's all Obama he did. He was good at hiding it because I'm sure he did things.
Yeah,
he just,
of course.
They didn't get out. And I mean, some of them did, but they were never substantiated probably.
Yep.
But, stuff came out afterwards. I know he smoked weed in college.
Yeah, which is a heinous crime.
I'm pretty sure he admitted to that, though. So that was, pretty cool.
Yeah. So when I tell people this, have conversations with people at a bar or, out and about, people immediately get so abrasive. And they get so standoffish when I make that comparison. But then once I delve deeper into it and I give them that example of like, look at what Trump is. He's a clumsy buffoon he's not really a buffoon. I mean, his persona might be buffoonish.
I feel like he's going to trip and fall a lot. So clumsy is probably.
He's clumsy, right?
He just looks like he's about to topple over.
All the time.
A lot.
All the time. I mean, an out of shape dude who has tons of money and just does and says what he wants. Has made 1,000 mistakes.
Like the life.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm like, yo, so
he doesn't even try to cover most of them up anymore either. Only the ones that are like really illegal that he could be put in jail for. Anything that's like
questionable,
extramarital in terms of like, he's cheating on his wife or he had a kid out of. I'm sure there's Trump kids running around all over that he's just paying off like million.
Little black Donald Trump babies with orange hair. That's great.
Don't go too far. Don't go too far.
And that's my whole thing is like look at our own individual lives, what our divorce rate is and how many different girlfriends and wives that we all go through. Just look at our life, like truly look at our own lives. Like how many people in this world, if one story about a bad weekend at college got out, you'd have to drop out the race. Like legit.
Well, most people, I just don't think it's normal to want to be in those positions. Really, those people are just.
I agree.
And like you said, it's two extremes. Like we're more like him, but no one is him by any means. Sure. Like he's almost like a cartoon character.
Oh, yeah.
And you could almost say Obama's like a cartoon character, but if it was just like this,
the perfect version,
the angel cartoon character,
they're literally that's. Really,
but I mean, like trying to be that way, but you have to be something of the sort in order to get into those offices.
Of course.
I always wonder how
Type A.
George Bush got in. He just seemed dumb as fuck, but I was too young to really even pay attention during that time.
Hey, fool me once. Fool me twice, can't get fooled again.
I love that part of the J. Cole song.
That's my shit, dude. And I mean, I get the apprehension to reflecting internally like that and coming to that assumption. But maybe if we did more of that, we would understand the Trump phenomenon a little bit more. The fact that we really write all of these people off who voted for Trump has been the most entertaining president of my lifetime.
For sure.
Of my lifetime.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying that I would necessarily like vouch for this guy, but I mean, in my lifetime growing up, I didn't even start caring about presidential elections to like maybe the election before Obama. Not even that. Obama's election. I tried to lie right there.
Till that one.
I lied right there.
Yeah, I didn't
give a shit until Obama.
Obama's first one was my.
That's when I started caring.
Yeah.
That's right out of high school, right? And before that, dude, presidents were just a celebrity to me. And I garnered to say, I mean, I would like to know what significant impact presidents have on the majority of people's lives. I know they have an impact on people's lives, but I'm guessing that on an individual basis, that presidents do not have a profound, direct impact on people's lives. I'm just gonna make a leap out there and say,
I don't think they have much power, really.
Yeah,
I mean, they don't have as much power as people think they do.
Yes, they have a lot of clout in forms of celebrity and our perception around the world. But in terms of,
I mean, the things Trump says can be very powerful.
sure,
But in terms of like lawmaking ability and
Yeah.
things of that nature, we've seen time and time again that he can't get things through because
it's tough.
he's just not, or can't block things that he wants to.
Yeah, it's very difficult. So, and people get so polarized over somebody who has a very minimal impact over your life, where yet and still we're nominating senators who are pedophiles, and we're putting governors in office
Oh yeah, the dude
who
in
are
Charlottesville or no Alabama.
Alabama.
Yeah.
And people who have a
Dude
much,
in Charlottesville too.
and the guy in the shot, like, do you see what I'm saying? People who have a much more profound impact on your everyday life, but yet we're not all up in arms writing article after article, book after book after these people. It's just because people stand to monetize off of Trump, which is why they make a job out of vilifying him or even supporting him. It's lucrative.
Well, that and that nowadays there's so much more information
That's
available, so there's so many more jobs in order to distribute information.
Mhm.
So there's so much more ways that we can take it in,
right.
and so many more headlines we can
Right.
see that say Trump did this, Trump
Right.
did that, or
Right.
Trump sucks, Trump's good, whatever.
And then people try to get mad at Trump for tweeting all night. Yo, ain't y'all on y'all phones on Instagram and Snapchat at the same time he is? Like, bruh, why are y'all trying to make this man out? Who's on their phone at 3 a.m? All of us, motherfucker. The statistics say it's all of us. What do you mean?
He is.
Literally all of us are on the phone the same amount Trump is. He's just the first president to be outright with it.
I saw this app that gives you a tree
Uh-huh.
on your phone or a forest, and it grows. All these plants grow for the amount of time that you do not touch your phone, and then when you open your phone up, they all die.
People out here with deserts.
Yeah.
Straight deserts.
But it's just
bruh.
it's like a to try to keep you away from it or whatever. And I know a lot of new phones have like settings to
where you can limit
to
the
be
amount.
able to do that. Yeah, limit the amount.
YouTube has a thing where you can set up, and you can it basically asks you, when do you want us to alert you that like you've watched too much YouTube? So
Oh,
like,
wow, really?
Yeah, I have a setting on my phone.
Addiction.
Yeah, after an hour of if YouTube has been on for an hour straight, it sets an alert like, hey, you've been watching for an hour.
Wow,
Just to at least put the thought in my head. Now I can easily dismiss it.
you have a problem.
I do. I watch a lot of YouTube, bro.
Wow.
But like if you've been watching for an hour straight, it will pop up like, hey, just an alert, an hour straight. This
Yeah.
is when you told us to hit you up. And then it doesn't work all the time. A lot of the times I'll just dismiss it. But other times when I would have just kept watching through, I'm like, all right, let me turn off my phone. Let me go do something else. And there's also these apps that you can install on your phone that track how many times you check your phone a day. And I've thought about downloading that on my phone, but I don't want to know.
Yeah, no one does.
It would be too fucking
I mean,
nuts.
it's become part of everyone now.
Yeah.
They've become part of.
It's an extension.
Eventually, they'll be like right here.
Oh, yeah.
like just
You know what pisses me off?
Put it right in there.
I saw one of those like 5 years ago. Somebody had a prototype of the phone that shows up on your arm.
Really?
But I was in my mind, I was like, oh shit, that's coming out next year. Bet I'm gonna get that new T-Mobile plan. 2 years of my
course.
life, got it. But it just never happened. And
it's probably out somewhere, but not here.
I
Some other country has that shit, like China.
bet.
China.
I guarantee
for sure,
you.
China.
I guarantee you. Oh, I was just reading a story about women in China who like have app boyfriends. Yeah, boyfriends on it's an app that basically
Are they
is,
real people?
no. These are completely
Oh,
fake
it's like,
people.
oh, what were those things called back in the day? The little pets,
Chia pets.
or no, that those are the ones you grew
Yeah.
plants in, not Digipets. I think they were Digipets. It was like a little dinosaur or something on a little screen, and you could feed them. God, this was so low tech, but it was so high tech back then. And you could connect them to someone else's, and they would like fight each other or
real?
something. Yeah,
Oh,
and
that's
you had
dope.
to like make sure to feed them,
Yeah.
or they would die.
That's so dope.
So what is it? How does this thing work?
I
Does
mean,
that work?
I forget a lot of it, but it's basically they just interact with this app all day, and this app acts as her boyfriend. And like one of her boyfriends was like a movie producer, some was like a rugged motorcycle riding guy, and they just like text her throughout the day. They have conversations.
So it's like an AI thing.
It's like almost, dude.
Yeah, so
I'm
no,
like,
but it has conversations with her.
Yeah.
Is it so it's not a real
It's
person?
not a real person.
Yeah, so it is an AI.
Yeah.
because they respond to things she says.
So that's gonna be women's version of it. So like men, we're horn dogs.
You're right.
So
right.
we gotta have like the physical like fuck robot. Women are gonna have the emotional robot.
Yeah.
So like, I mean, that's very stereotypical, but the shit it seems to be.
I mean, they'll
mapping
have
out that way.
they'll have one for each, but still.
But let's be real.
I
Bitches be crazy. Nah, let me stop. Let me stop. I ain't gonna do that.
No, I mean, I was just having a conversation the other day with Lydia about her going out with her friends and talking. So she was like, I get to talk about makeup and whatever and all this other stuff, and I was like, good. I'm so glad you get to go do that with them.
Not fucking me.
Yeah, I was like, that's why I'm here, playing video games, watching sports. Like, I'll just do that. And I talk to her about it, and she just turns her brain off. I'm sure she does.
Just like, and it's weird. I don't know why it's hard to have an honest conversation about that. It's like, I listen to most of what my girl tells me, but I tune out a lot of it.
Well, it all depends on interest too, because you're gonna have similar ones, but there's gonna be ones that are completely opposite too.
Right, and I know she also does the same to me.
I like JID's album. She hates it.
Exactly. She can't stand his voice.
Yeah.
So you start trying to talk to her about JID, she's out.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So,
she's already pissed.
Right. And you know what blows me sometimes? It's like when I start talking to my girl about sports, immediately I can see the glazed look just right, and I'm like, I don't care. It's just you happen to be this person here at the moment. If I could have a dude right here, I would easily just be like, okay, talk to him about it.
You gotta learn how to explain it in a way that people understand. It's a great way to learn teaching techniques.
That is also true.
Or sales techniques. I don't know.
That's true, but I also do not.
I get what you're saying too. I'll just talk.
Yeah, I don't because
I'll just talk
it's just another
need
person.
Yeah, I just need to get it out.
That's it. And here's the thing.
Damn, did you see that play? I know you didn't, but did you see it? I'll show it to you then.
And this is my thing, and it's like I don't bother her about the fact that I know. Like every once in a while, I'm like, yo, like if you make it too blatant that you're not listening,
you're not listening. You don't give a shit.
If you make it too obvious, if you're on Instagram and shit,
nah, I don't.
It's like, damn, that's savage, right? And I'll eat that, right? I'll eat that. But then if she starts talking to me about Mary Kay's new line of makeup and I tune out, I'm the bad guy.
Yeah, you just gotta learn to do disengaged listening.
How?
Disengaged listening techniques. I don't know.
When that inflection goes in
it's just natural to me.
When that inflection goes up and I know it's a question, I'm like, fuck.
You're like, yeah. But what's your opinion? What yours is?
Here's the thing.
I agree.
Here's the thing. This is one part of me that I got, like, I've worked on changing so much, but I just haven't figured out how. Is my responses when I'm not listening are the exact same. Like I have a set of like 3 outline responses. Like, oh, okay, that's what's up. Like I say the same. And if I could learn to change what I'm saying when I'm tuned out, I would actually get away with a lot of not listening.
That's like when you're, when you're not listening. But you're saying you have a set. 4?
It's not on purpose. It's just what my brain goes to when I know I'm being asked a question. I'm like, oh yeah, that's what's up. Okay. It's like it's like those couples.
One of those toys back in the day. Pull a string. It only has 4. You only got 4.
That's me. And I'm like, yo, if I could learn how to like finesse my response book a little bit, maybe I'll get away with a little bit not listening. But for the time being, it's like. And so here's my question, right? So obviously you want to get with somebody who shares similar interests so that there is some type of common ground between you guys. But then you don't, I don't think you want somebody too similar. So like, what do you do when you meet somebody and you have great chemistry and there's like physically and mentally, there's this like great vibe and this great chemistry, but then you have nothing in common? What do you do with that?
I think you put in like 6 months to like a year and a half.
Some great
and
sex.
Then you break up. Because I've done that many times before. It never worked.
Yeah, it's tough. That one is tough to work out.
It's a short-term thing. You can definitely do it.
Oh yeah,
but
so let me
eventually
ask you
your brain's gonna get bored as fuck.
Yeah, you unless you find other like if you have a friend.
Sorry if I sound bitter. I'm not.
Unless you have a friend that kind of like helps you parlay that. But so let me ask you on the opposite end of the spectrum. let's say could you do something where mentally and emotionally and intellectually you have like this fucking insanely dope chemistry, but then physically it's not there. Do you think you could do that more than you could do the physical with the no mental stimulation? You couldn't do that?
I don't know. Probably not. I don't think so.
You said no too quick, so now you couldn't.
I don't think so. No, because that would just be. It's like, nah, I can't.
But check this out though. But once you get married and have kids, the physical is gonna fall off the cliff anyway.
I mean,
nobody's gonna.
I think that's with any long-term relationship.
Right.
Probably that's just getting old too. I don't think people fuck as much, but who does? I don't know.
Well, between 50 and 80, you stop fucking, and then at 80, for some reason,
80,
they just start fucking again.
If you no, it's if you make it, then they're ready.
Yeah, but like one of the highest rates of STDs is amongst people over the age of like 60. They just start
the
fucking.
nursing home thing.
Yeah,
it's a bunch of people in nursing homes.
Because they're like, I'm about to die anyway, so let's get it in.
Yep.
Raw. That's wild, bro.
Disgusting.
So between
nursing homes are just brothels out here. No money exchanging hands, just trading,
just Rogaine,
pudding cups and shit.
Trading some Bengay for some ass. That's crazy, bro. That's why it smells like that's so gross.
Yep, let's not go that far.
That's so gross. But yeah, so like when I think about it, if I put a gun in my head, I had to choose between the two. In the now, it's like, okay, yeah, I want the physical because I'm a young dude.
Yeah.
Very, got a lot of testosterone, whatever. But my sexuality, realistically, the ability to be as sexual as I am lasts from like the ages of like 15 to if like for a dude just making it to like 45.
Yeah, maybe.
So you get like 30 years of prime time fucking, and then
I get what you're saying though. You'd want the person with the mental capacity, because
you're gonna have to sustain that for the next 50.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? So like,
gotta try to get the best of both. But if you had to take one,
I think
long term, yeah,
you'd have to take the mental stimulation. You know
long
what I mean?
term, yeah.
But that's also a hefty price to pay for your youth.
It is.
That is. Have you ever been in a sexless relationship, like somewhere where, like you?
Yes.
Yeah. How was that?
I mean, it didn't start that way.
Of course, it didn't start that way, but like that.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I got out of it.
Did y'all at least have the like mental thing going or no?
No.
Oh, so you had no sex and
like
no mental.
It was like completely checked out.
Oh.
In that situation.
What were y'all doing? Just being friends?
Yeah, it was a long time of just not wanting to hurt her feelings, I feel like. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, at a certain point eventually you're just like, okay, I'm thinking of me now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was a little bit of that, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this. You just, you said the whole thing's about the feelings. In your opinion, when it comes to situations like that, do you think more men tend to be more hesitant to hurt the feelings of the woman than the woman is to hurt the feelings of the man?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
for sure.
I think so too.
Yeah, because Lydia tells me shit straight up all the time.
Yeah, it's just so savage sometimes.
I mean, grew up with a mother and sister that are obviously both well, my mom's obviously older than me.
Yeah.
My sister is too, and they both told me how it was all the time. Still fucking do. So it's like, yeah, women
can be so straight to the point.
Yes,
man.
yes,
very much so.
It's brutal sometimes.
It can be very brutal.
But
like men have a filter for the most part, where it's just like there's this thing
some
right
odd
between
differences that because men obviously could be probably way more physically like brutal in like a fight, but I know we talked about this probably previously, but a mental capacity like there could be the ninjas of the
they're
of
the assassins of the mental and emotional world. Women are assassins. I just had a thought. Do you think the reason men have a filter is because they don't want to talk their way out of some pussy, where women, where a woman can almost never talk her way out of dick? You see what I'm saying?
No.
Like a woman. Okay, so think about it. Like as a man, a woman could be attracted to me, and I can talk my way out of having sex with her. It can happen very quickly.
If you sound stupid.
Very, very, very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But how often does a beautiful woman say something dumb, and you're just like, I don't want to sleep with this woman? So men have developed this natural filtration system because in every other
like
context,
natural beer goggles where you go deaf.
You go just
you're like, nope. Can't
I
hear
didn't
you.
hear it. I didn't hear it.
That sounds smart. That sounds real smart. You're just
Oh,
like,
you said that's how they invented milk?
yep, I bet you do know how that works.
And that's so like I just that would I think that might have a little something to do with it because I mean, I know I've been in situations where I've had it in the bag and said one thing and I could immediately see the body language, everything just changed and I was like, I lost it.
Yep, gotta go.
But the reverse has never been the same. There's never been a woman where I've been like, damn, she's fine. She could have been like, yo, I mean, I don't like, I got a hairy asshole. I don't know. Anything. She could have said anything. And I would have just been like, well, I mean, sometimes you got a hairy asshole.
Yeah.
I don't know what you want
Just
from me.
you in one ear and out the other, I believe is the term for that. It's like, I don't know.
I don't know what you want from me, bro. Like, it's cool. But I think I'm onto something here. I think I just struck gold right there, bro.
Gotcha. I saw the light bulb go off while we were talking.
I think I struck gold, man. But relationship, I actually I think it was like my sophomore year of college. I wrote like a 15-page paper on relationships. They just fascinate me because relationships are the one thing that you're going to probably have to deal with the most in life and which you're probably going to think about the most in life. Like, yeah, there are those few people who just focus on their jobs and they become CEOs because all they give a fuck is about working. And those people are just built differently, right?
Of course.
But then the majority of us, that 80% that fall in the, and then there's that 10% that just don't give a fuck, right? There's a 10% that just don't give a fuck, and the 10% that all they care about is other shit, and then 80% of us fall in that little category where it's like little big category, where relationships and the opposite sex are our primary focus. As much as we try not to admit it, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get this job and I'm gonna buy this car. You know why? I'm gonna get more pussy.
Yeah, I mean, that's the more fulfilling part of life for most people.
Yeah.
I think is their personal
What's wrong with
relationships.
that?
No, nothing at all.
Nothing at all.
Yeah, there's different types for sure.
Mm-hmm. And it fascinates me. The game fascinates me. How we're always trying to be subtle, right? Because you can't be direct, and how we spend so much time thinking about each other, yet do not understand each other at all. How like do you know what I'm saying? How men we spend. When I was 15, I spent 99% of my day thinking about women and knew nothing about women.
Of course.
Like and the fact that we're just it's like we're so close, but we just miss each other every fucking time. And I'm like, why is that?
Or it's more so, I mean, you say missing each other every time. It could be more so that they're filling in the gaps of the things that we lack, and we're filling in the gaps of things that they lack.
True. And okay, so let's dig into that. What gaps do you think women fill in us?
I mean, I don't know specifically, but I mean the nurturing aspect. I mean, I definitely don't have that. I just had a niece, and I mean, don't feel the nurturing aspect whatsoever. I don't even want to hold babies because I could feel like I'm break them. But it just, I mean, obviously you said maybe even the mental fortitude at certain points in certain situations. I don't know. There's a whole slew of different things that women have that are different than men.
Okay. Yeah, no, I completely agree. And then on the flip side of that, what do you think we fill out in that? Like, what gaps do we fill out for them? Like, as a man, what gaps do you fill out for your girl?
Protection, physical strength. I mean, you would probably back in years ago say that men were the providers, right, but it's kind of equal now, which is great. I like that. 50-50 is fine with me.
I will take that every day of the week, bro.
Yeah.
Get your own chicken.
Damn.
Just start spazzing.
I mean, I don't know specifically what gaps, like how we fill it in for each other, but obviously, when the situation arises, there's things that you can do that your significant other might not be able to do, and vice versa.
Sure. Yeah. No, I agree. I do think for the most part we do, even men and women. If you find the right one, you're right. It's very. I asked you a pretty tough question. I asked you a tough question on purpose because it makes you think, makes me think. But when you find that right person, you can feel the balance, but it's hard to verbalize. it's like you feel that something has been added to your life, but when you try to put it in
Oh
words,
yeah, the words part is hard.
it's just like, yo,
I'm
you
no
just,
poet.
yeah, you know what I mean? And then people chalk it up to what are the typical phrases? I love.
Yeah.
That is a gap filling word. You complete me. It literally filling a gap. So in order to,
puzzle.
you know what I mean? In order to verbalize these very complex feelings and emotions, we just use these very broad terms, which is why love I have a big beef with the word love, because I think the way we've started to use it in the general public makes it this like separate entity, when in all actuality love is a compilation of so many thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And if you don't understand that, and you think that that love is something that somebody's going to bring into your life, or like you're going to get from the universe or something, you'll spend your whole life aimlessly just wandering, when love is like communication, sacrifice. Give me another. That's all I do.
This is your rant. This is your rant. I'm not on this one.
No. I mean, but you see what I'm saying? Like things
Don't
like
make me liable for shit.
No, but like things of that nature.
She's like, I heard the podcast. You said you were gonna do this and this and this. That was Ray.
Man, shit. Don't stamp me on that. Don't stamp me on that. I quit this podcast.
Watch the video. It's fucking Ray.
But no, you know what I'm saying? So like love is a compilation of so many things, but it's just lost its meaning. And it just seems so empty now to me. Like, instead of somebody saying I love you, is like, yo, I appreciate if somebody I appreciate if somebody said this to me more than they said I love you. Yo, you know the other day when you had to rush to work, but instead you just dropped me off at the nail salon because I needed to do my nails. I really appreciate that. That to me trumps I love you every day of the fucking week.
But that's going back to it. I think that's one thing men do or provide or enjoy more or see themselves as the provider of in the relationship is accomplishing things, doing tasks that need to be done. And yeah, I mean, I don't, in that aspect, I don't look for praise for those, but I get what you're saying. Like if you hear that, it's like, oh, that's I feel that more than something else. But then there's like people that need gifts to show that they're, or people that need to give them in order to show theirs. So it's, I mean, there's all these different types of ways to show up for sure. I've looked into it.
Yes, it's real, man.
That was back in that was back in the one that had neither of the two things we talked about. And I was like, well, none of this applies. So bye.
See ya. And when I actually read that thing and I found out like my language is I like to give physical, tangible things, whether it's financially or like buy you shoes or shit.
I like that too.
And that when mine is also the same thing, gift receiving.
Okay. Gotcha.
And words of affirmation, those two things. And I was like, that makes fucking sense. Like if you buy me something and say I appreciate you, I don't need communication. I don't need none of that other shit. Like, all right, I'm good, right? Yeah. But that's a cool thing to find out about yourself, that like if you can just, and when I told my girl that, when she was like, oh, and I definitely praise her for this. She was like, oh, I mean, let me try it. Let me see if that shit's real.
Yeah.
And she would like go out and buy me stuff, and she could see like what a difference it made, more so than her just being like, hey, I love you. And it's like, I appreciate that, of course. But at the same time, like, buy a nigga some Jordans sometimes, yo. You feel what I'm saying? Like, buy a nigga some J's, or like, like I like socks and shit.
Yeah,
buy me some dope ass socks. You know what I'm saying? That shit right there.
Everybody likes socks.
I mean, I'm a sock guy, bro.
They go someplace. They get lost sometimes, so you gotta get new ones.
And like, and you know what's wild, bro? Is I will do a load of laundry, and I'll lose a sock, and I'm like, you know what? Before I go to my room and do all this shit and put my clothes away where it could get lost in the fucking depths of my room, let me look for that sock right here, right now, where there's no other possible location.
Yeah, of course.
This fucking sock can be.
Yep.
And it's fucking nowhere.
I got a theory. All right, so the washing machine companies are working with the sock companies, and what they're doing is, they haven't told us this, but for the longest time, there has been there's a receptor inside the washing machine that you can't see that sucks in every other sock every 3 weeks or something. That's what it does. It's set. It has a
Wouldn't
timer.
that be some shit?
And
Wouldn't that be
then
some shit?
you got to buy more socks, and they're like, "Fuck yeah, our partnership works."
Wouldn't that be some shit? Like if somebody took their washer out and smashed it, there's just a container
Yep.
full of lost socks.
Just socks.
I'd be so mad. Honestly, it would be so savage. I'd give a salute
Patent that
to the
shit.
sock industry. I'd be like, bruh, you
Do
know
we just
what?
come up with our next invention? We're about to sell
Steal
this
a
shit to
nigga's socks.
Washington. Washington. We're gonna sell it to Washington.
They probably
we're
buy
gonna
that
sell
shit
it to washing machine companies. That's what we're gonna do.
Bruh, and then, like,
Fuck this podcast. We're gone.
see ya.
Bye. Out.
Oh, talking about, we're talking about, oh, bitch, you cooking, running.
Black Bush, the smartest president ever.
The greatest in my, okay, this is obviously just my opinion, but hands down, the greatest sketch. Now, the Dave Chappelle was the greatest sketch show ever, right? But the greatest sketch within that sketch show, Black Bush. I think it is the most quoted sketch show off of that one, or the Lil Jon one.
I don't know. I you can't pick, but that is a
I
big
can
one for
pick.
me.
Oh, I can pick.
That's a big one for me. But
Yeah.
the Black Klansman one is
Mm,
one of the more
that's a classic.
controversial ones, I
Yeah.
would say.
But and you know what? At the end of the day,
Some of the lost episode ones were my favorites.
oh, with the
Cribs.
fucking bald eagles.
Cribs is my
Yes,
favorite.
Bruh. I wish I had my scissors. That's my shit. Yeah, nah, that's a really good one.
Cuts the head off the T-Rex baby,
Yeah.
the baby T-Rex.
That's a good one. Yeah. And you know what's funny about the Clayton Bigsby sketch is at the end of the day, it was, if you just strip away the context and just look at it as it is,
Mhm.
it's just a black dude saying nigga. Like the guy who's reporting is saying the word, but he's not using it in and of itself. He's using it in the context of like, this is what he said. And using a word like that is not offensive.
Wait, people were mad at that?
Are you shitting me?
They were mad
They
that
try-
the white reporter guy was saying it?
They were mad at the show, period, and then they were mad
Oh,
because
yeah.
the guy. Yeah. Oh
white
man,
guy
they
said
try to
it.
pull that. They try to pull Dave Chappelle shit after that show happened.
Oh, I
You
didn't
remember
even
that?
know. No, that was like the first season.
Oh man, they try to pull his shit after that
Oh,
shit
I'm
got
sure
released.
the FCC was upset.
Oh, my God,
to say
like-
the least.
And it's like, what you?
What
it's-
white parents randomly ran across Comedy Central and were like, "What is this?
This shit had to be
What
great.
is this?" Actually, at first they were probably like, "Klan."
Yeah, dude.
No,
You know what's funny? There's a guy. The
show is for everyone.
what?
The Chappelle Show.
Yeah, that show was amazing.
It's awesome.
I honestly, I think I know more white people that watch that show than black people. Real talk. I know more white people that watch that show than black people.
Maybe so.
Yeah, but because white people got cable. But
That could be wild.
nah. But in all actuality, speaking about the word nigga, there was a. Remember that? Did you hear the story of the Netflix? I think he was a CEO
Yeah.
who literally said we. And then
It was because of Tom Segura's special.
yeah, and he's
Yeah.
like, you shouldn't use these type of offensive words.
Yeah, these words.
How do you
Words
talk
like
about
these.
How do you talk about offensive words without saying offensive
Yeah,
words?
Yeah.
Like, and who else got fired for that? The Papa John's guy.
Yeah, yeah.
he was
See,
li-
I actually thought he had said it. I heard about the
No.
next. Yeah, and then I heard about that, and I was just like, "What?" So on the call, he said something about not saying it and used the word when saying,
Yes.
"Don't say this word."
Yes,
And people
and he got fired,
got him.
bruh. And
Got him.
can I make a public service announcement to the liberals, progressives, and black people? Stop this shit, because
These statements are sponsored by Ray, not Andrew.
yes, nah, the white
They
guy's
might be.
not
They might be. I
affiliated.
don't know. I haven't heard them yet. So.
But no, like, hey, I'm saying, like, you cannot look. Any minority that's I'm trying to get my thoughts together.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
Any minority who is fighting for any type of change and progression is, you need allies on your side. And who are those allies going to be? White men and women. It's going to take a group effort in order to make any change happen. With women on the Me Too side of it, you need men to boost this movement up. You need us just as much as we need you. It is everybody
Wait,
needs everybody.
Where did this come from?
So the whole thing with the getting people fired for saying the word nigga,
Oh.
you cannot be vilifying people like this when they're on your
Yeah.
side.
It's fucked up.
When they're on your side, because you know what that's going to make people do? The next white guy that actually can make some change and wants to stand up for you is going to be like, Nah, bruh, I'm good. I ain't trying to lose my career.
Oh.
Like, run, nigga.
I didn't say that.
Right? So, and I'm just like, yo, you really gotta reconsider this whole just absolutely vilifying people when it is you're the boy who cried wolf.
Mm-hmm.
So then when a real racist comes around, nobody's gonna believe you.
Yeah.
You can't call this Papa John's guy and this Netflix guy racist when they were literally saying, hey, in our office, we are not going to stand for that shit. And here are the types of things you can't say. They were literally doing exactly
listing the words. Yeah.
They were doing whatever progress you're fighting for, they were working on instituting it.
Yeah.
Literally doing, I don't see how else you define what you're trying to get people to do. When you got a white guy making millions of dollars, putting his neck on the line and say, yo.
It looks bad. It looks real bad.
It just doesn't look good for the movement at all, man.
Mm-mm.
You got to take a step back and realize, like, look, like, please, what is the context in which this guy was trying to say that? Was he trying to hurt people? Was he trying to be offensive?
No, he wasn't, of course.
No.
Yeah, and I mean, didn't they? I thought they had recordings of it or something, and it maybe leaked out, but maybe I'm thinking of something else. Somebody else saying that word, and it was probably.
I think the person that got recorded was the Papa John's guy.
Oh, okay.
The Netflix guy, there were black people in the room. They felt offended by it, and then the other people in the room that weren't black also corroborated the story.
Gotcha.
So and then it ended up being like, we don't need the video. If everybody in the room is saying you said it, then you said it.
Oh, gotcha.
And oh man, that really frustrates me because I'm really worried that it's gonna turn a good movement. And I mean, I got my own problems about the Black Lives Matter movement, but otherwise it has the right idea, and it'll take something that can actually be something positive and then turn it into the very thing that they're fighting against.
Yeah. That could happen. Yeah, I mean, it's not good to get those in trouble that are on your side, I guess, but it's hard to say what they're thinking in that situation. Not thinking necessarily.
I just think it's wielding power. You just find yourself in a position where you're...
A lot of people get off on that.
Oh,
for
everybody,
sure.
right?
I mean, that's Trump's whole thing. I feel like a lot of people in those high up positions of power, that's what they're looking for, is just the power part. They get off on it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what's that J. Cole line in High for Hours? The abused just becomes the abuser, and that's just how life goes. It's a vicious cycle. It's like when what's good and taking over when we know what you're gonna do, right? You're just the boy who was abused by his father abuses his wife and his son, who abuses his wife and his son. It just at some point
break the cycle.
Somebody's got to make a change, right?
Yeah.
And I just hope for the movement's sake that, and I think for the Me Too movement, just. Hey, Matt Damon wasn't trying to be an asshole when he said what he said.
Yeah, he said that too.
He was on y'all side, women.
He got kicked off that movie, right?
Yeah. He was on y'all side. I mean, he was one of the people who was adamantly on your side. So
he said something about like, if we give you a compliment, don't take it offensive, or what did he say?
Something to the effect of, this is gonna be very general, and if I'm wrong, I'll stand corrected. But something to the effect of like, can we parse out the different levels of this shit? Can we say that Harvey Weinstein is a monster and Aziz Ansari is just like a dumbass? Can we like basically? Now, he didn't say those words, but I think the general gist of his argument was like, can we decipher what is what? Like every man who has done something that misogynistic or maybe overstepped some boundaries is not a rapist.
Yeah.
Because I can be completely honest as a man, right? And say, I have definitely overstepped some boundaries, said some things I shouldn't have said, got drunk and maybe touched a woman inappropriately, but I've never been accused of rape or anything even close to it. But according to this movement, I'm already lumped in with the guy who's serving 25 years for rape, right? And it's like, okay, then how do I then feel comfortable coming out and saying, yo, I am absolutely for your movement. I have made mistakes and I'm far from being a perfect man. Absolutely. But I still want to support you guys in your struggle.
Yeah, I think you can do that.
I don't think you can. Not, and especially not if jaded ex-girlfriend decides to come out and say, well, he grabbed me too hard one time. There's, if it turns out that because, so if I can sit here and I say as a man that I have made mistakes, that immediately says, all right, there's some women who can come out and say he grabbed me too hard one time. I'm not saying I've never done that, but hypothetically, because I've already admitted that I make mistakes, if somebody comes out and lies, it automatically corroborates whatever story they're saying, and then it already demonizes me and makes me look like some type of heathen. And then say a reporter does all their investigations, whatever, and finds out that this person is absolutely lying, right?
Mm.
My reputation will be tarnished. I will be looked at as some fucking, I wouldn't be able to be employed, X, Y, and Z. But where is the repercussions for her lying?
I mean, there aren't really any for people that lie. I don't think lying is necessarily false accusations.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
sure some you get in trouble for that.
Right, but they don't lose their job. They're not fired because of.
They might be. I mean, it all depends on who on the internet decides to vilify you and take your picture and put it out there and make sure the people come after you.
Well, I mean, yeah, but what I have been seeing is that there have been a lot of men who have been falsely accused, and I'm not trying to just say this as like, oh my God, men are being, because women have been degraded and put down for years, and I understand the struggle, but I'm also saying, yes, I can also believe that and also understand that there are a lot of men who have lost everything over fictitious stories, and there has been no repercussion for them. Like, you can't recover from that, because all somebody does is do a Google search and says falsely accused of rape. Man, you're done. Nobody wants to deal with you at that point. And I'm just saying there needs to be an honest discussion had and said, this whole notion of just believe every woman, I think is insane. I think it's insane.
I don't think that's a notion that most people have, though. I mean, you're kind of speaking in generalizations, though. It's you're taking people that are doing this and saying that it's all people, but it's not. It's not even close to that at all.
I'm not saying it's all people, but I'm saying it's the main it's a statement that people are not objecting to in the same furiosity and to the same extent that they object to something like Matt Damon said. So when a woman comes out and says believe all women, where is the like that visceral just like, what can you say? That's insane.
I mean, but a ton of people had that reaction or have that reaction to whoever you're talking about. I don't know who you're talking about.
Didn't see that. Damn, I forget her name off the top of my head. I can look it up, but I didn't see that. And so
yeah, but whose reactions are you seeing? Where do you get your information? Are you on social media? Are you looking at news articles? Are you just talking to people in person? Like, I don't talk to people about these topics most of the time. I just read news articles. So normally I'm just getting, hopefully unbiased facts about stories.
I'm saying in the public discourse in general, like whether it be TV, social media, newspapers, all I know is this. When the Matt Damon saga happened, you log online, everywhere. You get on the news, everywhere. But that same lady who said that thing about believe all women, I did not log on to any platform and see an equal response.
Well, it's not. I mean, it's not as easy, I guess, for people to come back at that side yet because it's still kind of new. It's not a new movement for women to be treated equally and not be assaulted, but it's new in terms of the Me Too thing. It's new in terms of a lot of women finally speaking out against people that did things to them years ago. So, I mean, it's something that no one wants to come up against because it's kind of like the runaway, not runaway, but maybe even runaway train that can't be stopped.
But why?
I mean, things get momentum and they can't slow down. I mean, but I feel like I haven't heard about it recently a lot. So it's almost already out of news cycles and they're on to other things. Obviously, our first topic today of Trump, he fucking takes most of the news cycles and something new happens with him all the fucking time now. Yeah. So
I'm just, again, I don't know why I have to keep qualifying this, but I guess that's like fear of like public disapproval that I have to keep saying that I am on women's side, but I don't think I am wrong in wanting to address the other side of things. Like, I can sit here and say
Yeah, but that's just like anybody that falsely accuses someone of a crime.
Sure.
It's just any person. I mean,
Yeah.
it's happening a lot right now, but that I assume it happens online all the time.
Yeah.
With people that get falsely accused of things. I mean, one example is swatters.
Mm-hmm.
Have you heard of these people?
No.
They're online video game players who get mad at their opponents or for whatever reason,
Mm-hmm.
call in fake threats or fake tips to SWAT teams and say that there's these people with guns and they need to go see what have a hostage situation, something like that. And called it in. Dude answered the door. Cops killed him. Now this guy is going to prison because he called in that fake, that call or whatever.
Killed him.
Yes, killed the guy because they thought he had a gun. The tip was something of like a hostage situation, like this guy's got a gun to somebody's head, something like that. So as soon as they saw the guy, they shot him. I mean, obviously, probably a terrible mistake on the cops' part, but this guy's also in trouble because he literally called that in so that would happen. He didn't probably think it would go that far, but still a false thing that he called in.
Right.
And people that's not the same, obviously, as a false accusation in these terms because someone got killed.
Right.
But there should be repercussions for sure.
Right.
But I also don't think that there's this one side where everyone's just focused on, you can't attack or you can't come back against these people because they're indestructible right now, I guess.
Yeah. I try to do my due diligence and read as many articles as I can, and I just don't see as many articles supporting the other side. And let me also be very clear here. I don't just feel this way about the Me Too movement. I also feel this way about the Black Lives Matter movement. Like, take, for example, the tragic story of Sandra Bland. The woman who was pulled over in Texas for failing to signal a turn. An exchange occurred between her and the police. She was taken out of her car forcefully, thrown to the ground. I would say physically assaulted to a certain extent.
Yeah.
Thrown in a police car, taken to jail, where I think a day or two later ended up killing herself. Now, this is an absolutely tragic story, and a lot of, the public discourse was surrounded around the fact where people didn't believe she killed herself. Excuse me. And they believed that the cops either staged it, hung her themselves, and there was a large discussion about like racial profiling, police injustice, so on and so forth. But if you go back and watch that video, man, there are plenty of instances in where Sandra, if she had just followed the police officer's orders, that situation would have gone significantly differently. She was, from the minute the cop pulled her over, she was aggressive. She was trying to. She was automatically confrontational. Now you're being confrontational with a man who has no idea who is a murderer and who's not, who's a thief and who's not. Because if you can tell me how to spot a criminal, tell me, and I'll sell you a bridge in London. Right? There's a cop has no fucking idea who is and who isn't a certified insane person, right? Yep. So they have to treat each individual the same and be a little bit on edge, right? So then you're gonna provoke this individual, right? So it's like, I understand that there are many injustices in the criminal system and a lot of things that need to be done to address those issues, but on a traffic stop is not where you do that.
I get nervous as shit as a white person on a traffic stop. I can't even imagine what the fuck a black person goes through in any situation like that. So yeah, I would. Obviously, I can't put myself in those shoes, but trying to, I would want to follow everything possible just to make sure nothing happens.
And here,
she drunk? You said?
No. They let her later. The toxicology report said she had been smoking. But again, people.
What did they get her for? Reckless driving?
Just failing to signal.
Yeah. Well, so some type of
And then take this a step further. If you're a black person who believes those things that you do about cops can kill you at any minute and that's their goal and they're racist and there's this whole thing, if you truly do believe that, why would you provoke them? If you believe that person is a killer and they want to shoot you, why wouldn't you just like, all right, okay, yep. Yes, sir. okay, and try to get away from the situation as expeditiously as possible. Why why tempt this individual that you already think is a cold-blooded murderer? And I wish there was, when things like this happen, I just wish that there was a more honest conversation. Like, say for example, so it said that she died by suicide. Look, her family has said that she had been dealing with depression recently.
Mhm.
Why can't we have a conversation about how mental illness is the real deal, and you
It
can't
is.
always tell when somebody's suffering immensely.
Do you have to? I mean, this is insensitive, but do you have to pull yourself? Like, do you have to have upper body strength to hang yourself? How do you do that?
So
I don't want to know for to do it.
I guess
I don't
so. You just
understand
got to get to a place high enough where your feet can't touch
Oh
the
yeah,
floor.
and then you jump off.
And then
I
you
guess
just jump
off
off.
the bed. Yeah, so
And then-
not necessarily have to lift yourself up. I guess.
no, you just
Yeah.
got to get
I
like
actually had a cousin that did it in jail.
oh wow,
Killed himself that way in
Yeah,
jail. Yeah.
yeah.
So
So
kind of
there,
understand it,
it
but
happens.
never. Yeah, I don't know how it
it
happens, but
Yeah.
yeah, it definitely happens.
And so, like, why can't we, instead of chalking it up to racism and police negligence and conspiracies, why can't we say, hey, what if she was struggling with some mental issues
For sure.
and she thought that the system was corrupt and this sent her over the edge,
Yeah.
and she thought this was her only way out?
Could've
Why
been.
can't we talk
Yeah.
about that?
Did the cops get in trouble?
No,
No.
no.
Well, I mean,
because
that's.
they
I
didn't.
mean,
she died in their custody.
Yeah, and
but
I
there
mean,
was-
but there's nothing to prove. Like, you
Right.
can't prove it was her. You
Right.
can't prove it was them.
Yeah.
I mean, well, with suicide, it is kind of who it's on, and
Yeah.
I mean, even if it's staged, you
Mhm.
can't really tell. That's
Yeah.
the thing about it.
Yeah.
So, well, R.I.P.
like real shit. And it's like, why can't we have a conversation around that first?
Mental health for sure.
Right? And then also take it a step back to when the altercation started. Why can't we have more conversations with our young black men and women and say, hey, look, cops may treat you differently. They might assume that you're a suspect more than they might a white person. So given that that is the case, given that they may already be a little bit on edge than they otherwise would, follow the law and their orders to a T. Go above and beyond, even if the cop is calling you a nigga this, nigga that. If he's hitting you, abusing you, do nothing. Follow every single direction that they gave you. Cops are all wearing body cameras now, and if you sit there, hopefully for the most part, and if we can get that on tape, if we can take this to the judge, if there's a recording, then later when your life is not in the balance, we can have this discussion and try to reform the system.
Yeah, of course.
But in the middle of if a traffic stop is not where you make change.
Yeah, each situation, obviously, we've seen a ton of videos over the last couple of years. Each situation, there's sometimes where a lot of the time the video, that gets out, obviously it's the officer's fault, and we can tell it is.
Mhm.
Excessive force,
Mhm.
Shooting for no fucking reason at all. But there's preventative measures that can be taken by people to try to at least de-escalate the situation and make
Yeah.
sure that the cop feels as safe as you would want to feel.
Yes.
Because it's just another person
Yeah.
maybe going through some shit just like you are.
Yep.
Shit, mental health. I mean,
Affects police too.
I would assume quite a bit. I just did some sorting for the Toys for Tots
Mhm.
drive in Maryland the other day.
Mhm.
Right near the Redskins Stadium,
Mhm.
the Prince George. Is it Prince George County?
No, that's Landover.
Yeah.
The Redskins Stadium is in Landover.
Yeah, but what's the police force there? Is that Prince George County or
What is that?
because it was PG? Yeah, I
Then
think
that's
it was
Prince George's
PGC.
County
Yeah,
cops. Yep.
yeah, we were there in their like gymnasium.
Mhm.
I call it that because it was old as fuck. It's a
Gymnasium.
gymnasium. Yeah, it was old as a bitch. But it was there were like
Word.
25,000 toys in there when we
Yeah.
got there. But it was cool shit to see that they were doing all that.
Mm-hmm.
But I've never seen so many toys in one place in my life.
Yeah.
But you just go there and you're like, they're just regular people going out their day trying to help other people.
That's it, man. Some of
Yeah.
these cops, I forget what the shifts are. Is it 410 and like 3-8 in the way they do the shifts? So sometimes cops are going like 3-4 days in a row with sleeping like maybe 2 hours a night.
Yeah.
And they're trying to file reports. They're trying to keep civil discourse.
Yeah. It's
You know,
hard. I got a couple friends that are there.
It is
cops.
a tough. The stress that a cop sees on their job is stress than the average citizen is never going to experience unless they go to war. Like, do you imagine what a cop in Chicago deals with on a day, south side of Chicago deals with on a day-to-day basis? Like, that's got to
Yeah.
be bananas, right? and I'm not trying to sit here and disparage Black Lives Matter because I understand what the movement is trying to do. And I'm not trying to sit here and say I'm taking the side of the cops and cops are these, oh, they're just people and made some mistakes, because there are some cops who are fucking shitty people and should never have gotten a fucking badge.
Very
There's
correct.
so many of them.
Yeah, just power hungry, as we talked about. There's a lot of people that are just power hungry that shouldn't be in the position they're in right now. Whether that's a cop, a president, whoever,
anybody,
a boss,
anybody,
a manager.
That doesn't take away from that aspect of it. But on the other side of Black Lives Matter, it's like, yo, don't just say all cops are fucking racist pigs, because they're not.
Yeah.
It's just we don't even have to argue about that. It's just a fact.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm sure a lot of the situations they go through give them some sort of trauma disorder or PTSD. And I know you read Tribes, and I finished it finally. Mm-hmm. I know they were specifically talking about, I wrote it down, mm-hmm. How it's not necessarily like the war or the stuff that happens to you on the job mm-hmm. that gives you the PTSD, mm-hmm. the trauma that keeps coming back to you, but it's not being able to relate to people in society afterwards, or not having the empathy from people in society afterwards. That's what keeps it coming back and back, and that it's not something that lasts forever, and it mm-hmm. shouldn't be. It can in some people, but it shouldn't be something that lasts forever, mm-hmm. because eventually, if you treat it correctly and you get the support from your community and your society, then it can go away with that in medicine and therapy.
Yeah, why do you think they give these veterans pets?
Yeah, just and I mean, but
companionship
just the police officers obviously go mm-hmm. through something similar, not on the scale of war, but
some do.
And I mean, people in general go through that. You know, there's a lot of people that get therapy for PTSD, whether it's war or some type of mm-hmm. assault that happened to them, or whatever. So it's crazy to read that, though, to have that realization that it's like, oh, it's not necessarily that it's the trauma, it's that they can't relate to anyone about it. It's so isolation. Hard. It's so hard to come back, mm-hmm. and they miss, the being part of the team almost.
Man, I would prefer being shot and tortured over being isolated.
Oh yeah, the
like straight up.
What's it called? Solitary confinement. That shit.
That is the worst thing I think you can do to a human being.
Why I want to experience that, I don't know. Not in the prison sense. Not in the prison sense.
I'm good.
But like, I know people hallucinate. People mm-hmm. fucking. Well, I mean, what about those tanks?
Deprivation tanks.
Yeah, that's what
sensory deprivation.
They have those shits around this area. I need to go try them out. Yeah, I need to go try it out.
My therapist was actually telling me.
I've never done it, but it sounds cool as shit. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of what that is, right? But I mean, you would have to do that for a long time. But I guess the floating is what induces some of the hallucinations. Yeah, yes. So maybe it speeds the process up or something. Yes. But I can't imagine people in prison that go through just
18 years of solitary.
You develop probably 12, 13 mm-hmm. personalities. You put on shows for mm-hmm. yourself, and like, God, your brain probably becomes this like thing where you go away in it. Like you hide away in little crevices that you create. Like, oh, I'm gonna go to my old school here. I'm gonna just chill here because I remember that was a good memory. Mm-hmm. And like, that's nuts though.
That's almost crazy.
But that's almost like a form of meditation if someone can do
Certainly.
that in that situation.
Certainly.
I guess that would happen to like prisoners of war as well mm-hmm. too. But
I don't know how they do it, man. And that man, I cannot even fathom what it could. I have never fantasized about being in isolation.
No, not fantasize. Definitely not.
No. Okay, that was not. That was.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think the word fantasize gets misconstrued.
I get what you're saying. I imagined it.
It is a fantasy, right? So
exactly.
fantasy has no good or negative connotation to it necessarily, right? So, but I mean, with as much studying as we've done on, mammals most closely related to us, like chimpanzees, as we've seen with regular human beings who've grown up in certain environments, that, man, human interaction, it looks like, is damn near as important as eating and sleeping and breathing, man.
It's great in water.
And you know what I mean? It is so necessary to your
gotta get near that tribe.
Function.
Gotta have a tribe of some kind in whatever way you find it. And that's why, people why are you on your phone? Why are you on your phone? Think about it. It's the tribe. It's your tribe. Yep. What's a group text almost? Yep. What's your social media profile? And like I almost think that because I've not dwindled, but like made my tribe smaller over the years. I don't need the social media. Like I keep in touch with the people that I want to keep in touch with, and that gives some semblance of that to me as well, you know. So it's you got to figure out who that is and who you can rely on. So but yeah, I get what you're saying. It's very important to your brain,
dude. I
mean, brain and heart, those are the two you got to take care of the most, right? And those are obviously not your lungs. Fuck your lungs. But you gotta take care of those first and foremost, and therapy, being around people that that help you, making sure you get enough sleep, eating right, drinking water, all that shit. It's more important than just, I don't know, as a kid it didn't seem that important, but it's literally life and death. It could be the difference between 10, 15 years of your life.
It is. I mean, I know we've spoken about this before, and even before I read that book, Tribe, I came to this conclusion on my own, and I had many conversations with my mom about this. I used to say to her, I was like, you know what, Mom? Being poor ain't all bad. I was like, I used to break it down to her like this. I was like, Mom, we can start with the assumption that nothing is 100% bad and nothing is 100% good. All right, she grants me that. So we got a foundation to rely on. Then my next step would be like, so that would mean being poor isn't all bad, right? And she's like, well, yeah, technically, yeah. And then she'd say, why? And I say, because what happens when you're poor is you're forced to rely on each other. You're forced to build such a tight-knit sense of community that you almost, I don't want to say you don't care that you're poor, because obviously they do, but like you have each other, and just having each other, as much as money matters, just having each other is enough. It is that vital that you can be in a wilderness of nothing. Yeah. But if you have someone else, you don't feel that bad.
Yeah.
It is. But you can have...
Isolation is a terrible thing.
You can have all the money in the world.
Yep.
And if you don't have anybody, there's a good chance you're going to kill yourself.
Yeah, they talked about as your affluence goes up, your reliance on other people goes down, and therefore your sense of tribe goes down, and therefore your mental health can sometimes. Obviously, there's outliers. There's always going to be, people that, I mean, there's those people that live out in the wilderness and shit. Like, I don't understand what the fuck.
There's outliers.
What is going on there? I more power to him, because that shit is crazy to me. That there's this guy. I know that Joe Rogan talked about him, but I've seen him on my own many times. Where on YouTube, where he just builds different things out of nothing. It's just in the woods. He just has like an axe, a stone axe, but he might show you how he makes that axe out of nothing. And then, and I'm sure he makes it out of like a stick, some vines, and like a rock that he sharpened on some other rocks or something. So he makes that. Then he starts chopping real wood. He makes like a whole house, a fire pit, like a fucking kiln for like making pottery. Like, he makes whatever the fuck he wants.
That's so dope.
It's nuts. Like, how does someone?
A man.
Yeah, it is. But there's outliers. He doesn't need anyone, but he probably would benefit from some human interaction.
Certainly. There. I mean, yeah. People mentally are wired differently. Right?
Yeah.
So I think there's like a baseline level for most human beings, and on that baseline level we need X amount of human communication and interaction, and some people fall below that baseline level and some people fall above, just like those people who need to be around someone all the fucking time, bro.
You ever play video games for like, well, conservatively we'll say like 5 hours.
That's on the conservative side.
So like 5 hours you're like inside, you're not doing shit, you're not talking to anybody. I'm not talking about online. I'm talking about just by yourself, some one player game, whatever you're doing. And then you're like, I need to talk to somebody.
I need to holler at somebody.
Hey, what are you doing? I don't know. I'm just walking outside with Frank, my dog, walking him, just talking to neighbors, just like, oh, hey,
I'll take it.
Yeah, good day out here, huh?
Dude, anything. That's why, like, after I go on a binging of video games, I don't order food. I go to the store to get something.
So you have to interact with people. Yeah.
Simply, I have been not talking to somebody for too long.
Yeah.
I must talk to somebody now, which is why I think with like the Amazons and all of these companies and the Uber Eats and the Grubhubs, where to get almost anything you need to survive, you can press a button on your phone,
yeah,
and it will be dropped. And you don't even have to meet the
Nope.
person.
You can get the food, you can get the people interaction.
Drop it off at my door, cuz.
Yeah,
I don't want to talk to your ass.
Don't talk to me.
That's so crazy, dude.
All right, I'm gonna have you talk to the people for a little
shit.
bit. I'll be right back.
That's a lot of pressure. That's too much pressure.
You did it last time.
Yeah, I did. As he takes a bathroom break while his dog freaks the fuck out. What's on Ray's mind today? God, who knows? Started a new job. It's pretty dope. People out there, it's pretty nice. Can't wait till I ain't gotta work no more, though. Hopefully this podcast pops off. Me and 13 million other people trying to start their podcast. And you know, I will say that I don't believe that I necessarily deserve to do a podcast and that people deserve to listen to me. I want to let the people out there know that I don't think I'm special. I don't think I have something overwhelmingly smart or profound to say.
I'm back, don't worry.
Okay, good. I'm not some savant or some special. I know what's the 3.14? Is that pi? I don't know all the numbers to
Obviously.
that shit. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not that type of guy. So I'm not doing this podcast because I think I'm the shit. I'm literally sitting here doing this because I think it's dope to talk to my dude about the shit that we would talk about anyway.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, what?
Yeah, we would.
These conversations aren't tailored for the podcast. They're not fucking doctored. This is literally... I mean, I hate the word when people use the word literally too much. This is exactly the conversations we had when we were sitting at work.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
There's nothing...
Or just like on a couch.
There's nothing different about them at all. So, you know, if this shit blows up, great. If it don't, I don't give a shit. That was my rant while you were...
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. I actually, you mentioned therapy earlier. I went to my first session this past week because I tried to go, a couple weeks ago and missed the whole appointment.
We're like 2 hours late and shit.
I was super early this time. Got in there half hour early.
Good.
I was like, there's got to be some paperwork.
Good.
Signed in, and then they didn't call me up until like 5 seconds before my appointment. I was like, do I have some paperwork there? Like, yeah, there's 5 sheets of paper you gotta fill out. I'm like, son of a bitch. I got here early. So
I could do this
filled it out real quick, went in there, and it was good. I mean, told her, it was a very general overview of who I was and why I was there, but told her I was doing a podcast just to kind of get things out there and talk about things. And she, didn't really have a comment on that because she was just listening most of the time, but she kind of talked about getting into the different ways to think about things, just in terms of how do you think about things differently to make them not feel as jumbled, I guess, in your head. So we're getting into that next time. But yeah,
they mind fuck you.
Yeah, no, it seems like it's going to be very interesting. I'm excited that my insurance pays for it and I can do it.
That is key, and it's really cool how so my therapist said something to me that was so simple yet so profound. She was like, do you know why? Because she said something, and I was like, holy shit, I never thought about that. She was like, do you understand that therapy is literally just trying to get you to see something from a perspective that you otherwise wouldn't have? That's all therapy is. It's just to get you to step outside of your own mind professionally.
Yeah, after an hour, she was like, I don't think you're going to be here for that long. We're just going to work on some ways for you to think about things differently. And I was like, I can't wait to come back. This sounds awesome.
I want to can you be my new mom?
Yeah.
I want to be here all the time.
Don't let my mom hear that.
No, I'm not saying.
But no, yeah, it was good though. I see, I mean, after just one time, I see why people go for sure.
Oh man, it is, I mean, because you can talk to your friends, but again, you need somebody who's adequately adept at understanding the processes behind certain ways of thinking.
Yeah, your mind, how your brain works.
Yes,
yeah, who has a degree in it.
that can take that ship that's going this way and slightly, and that's all most people need is just like a slight nudge.
Yeah.
Like no, go stay away from the what do they call the shallows? Stay away from where like your boat may,
where the rocks are.
You know what I'm saying? Where your boat might get stuck. Let me just push you back out into this ocean and for some smooth sailing. Because all it takes is just like one time for your mind to get off of track a little bit.
Yeah.
And then under the right circumstances, with the right conversations, with the right person, you get back and you just like, fucking A. But once what I'm learning is that once you get back on track, you gotta do your due diligence to stay on track.
Oh yeah, it's
You know what I
work.
mean?
It's
It is not.
I mean,
You can't just be like, oh, okay, I'm good
think
now.
about eating right. I mean, it's kind of the same thing. You get in,
Good analogy.
you get in what you put out. No, you get out what you put in.
Yes.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean,
yeah.
it's the same thing with your brain, I
Yeah.
guess, in terms of meditation,
Mhm.
sleep, and
Mhm.
just different things that I hope to learn about eventually.
Dude.
I got to get into meditation for sure. I've still haven't tried it other than
It's
a couple times,
lovely.
but I haven't gotten into it like on a daily basis.
It's
and
so
that's
dope.
You do it daily
Dude,
now?
all I do, and it's not even long. So I'm starting to increase it, but every morning I wake up and all I do is concentrate on my breathing. So like I take deep breath in, slowly let it out, and I'll do that like 10, 20 times. And by the end of that, here's what I compare it to. I feel high.
Hmm.
I legitimately feel high. And
Yeah.
I'm just like, you feel so like loose and relaxed, and you're like, all right, I can do today. Today, like I like today.
Yeah.
And that I'm telling you, it doesn't take more than 5 minutes. Just that, focusing on your breathing, and because it's very hard to focus on something like your breathing and also simultaneously think about other things. And it is.
I mean, that's what yoga is all about, and obviously focusing on the breathing and stretching at the same time, I think, is the part of it that makes it difficult. So
why do people exercise to take their mind off of things?
Yeah.
Because it's very hard to focus on keeping 400 pounds off of your chest and think about what that bitch said to you the other day. Because you might kill yourself thinking about her, right? You know what I'm saying?
Like, don't bench press anymore.
Like, fuck bench pressing. I cut that shit out. But it's dude, like those breathing exercises of just like slow, controlled breathing.
Yeah.
I wish there was a word that I was aware of that described how you felt
I like
afterwards.
how you described that. You're like, I know there's a word. I just don't know what
I just don't know it, dude. I wish I knew one to say how I felt. It's just this, not euphoria, but this just calmness that washes over you.
Yeah.
And then it's like every time I'm feeling like a little stressed out, boom, focus on your breathing. Because so what my psychology teacher taught me back in the day that I think about a lot is that a lot of people breathe from the chest when you should be breathing from the diaphragm.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're breathing from the chest, your breaths are real short or real shallow, and you're not getting a good intake of oxygen throughout your body. But if you focus on breathing from your diaphragm, then you're getting a good intake of oxygen. That's like you're taking deep breaths and getting a lot of oxygen to your lungs. Because he would always say, put your hand on your chest. If you feel your chest rising when you're taking a deep breath, you're doing it wrong. You should feel your belly rising and poking out, and then your belly flattening as you breathe out.
Never good at running.
Yeah, because you're breathing from
long
up here.
distance. Yeah, terrible.
Yeah, and I remember I came in the next day and I was like, obviously, you're teaching this for a reason because you know what the fuck you're talking about.
Yeah,
but I was like, yo, it's really cool when somebody knows what they're talking about and then somebody does it and you realize like, oh, this person knows. Like they're not just some teacher just shooting shit out their ass because they got a degree in it. I was like, dude, I did that shit and is a fucking very noticeable difference.
Yeah,
of just focusing on my breathing and changing where it came from.
That's good.
I try it.
Yeah, there's a 2019. Yeah. Resolutions,
dude. Look,
got a lot of shit to do in these next 2 weeks before the end of the year.
Hey man, look, and it's something very simple too.
I got a lot of things I want to get into I got to read more in 2019.
Yeah,
I want to do yoga again finally. I've been saying that forever. I just got to actually look up when I can do it.
Yeah.
Meditate, other things.
Yeah, I mean,
eat more vegetables, I guess. I don't know.
See, I cheat on my vegetables, bro. I just get
You take the powder still?
I do that.
That shit is dirt.
It's disgusting.
But it's vegetables.
It's still wheatgrass and all that good shit for you.
It tastes like dirt.
It tastes like butter.
You mix it with 2 scoops of like protein that any flavor, it just tastes like dirt.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Strawberry dirt. That's what it tastes like.
Peanut butter, dirt. Dude, I
still have some. I haven't used them in a while because it's just
you just couldn't take it.
It's just gross.
Typically for me, like this is how I cheat on my vegetables. I'll take those big ass like plastic tubs of like baby spinach and kale and spring mix that they put in those like
bags.
2 pound like the hard container tubs. Yeah, I'll get like 2 of those each week, and then like I'll take like a massive handful, stuff it in there, stuff some frozen fruits in there, put that shot of like whatever powdered vegetables I got.
Oh, okay.
And then and I mean, if I'm feeling like it, I'll throw some protein in there. just blend that up, and then after that, it tastes legitimately really good. That's how I don't.
Oh, you gotta do all that.
It's not that bad because like when you, I mean, the scoop, like you take the scoop, the handful of vegetables,
Yeah.
throw the fruits in. I mean, it's a 5-minute process.
Yeah, we got a thing to make smoothies.
Oh yeah, you got
but-
that ninja.
Yeah, but we do it sometimes, but it's I don't know. I like eating my fruit over drinking it if I can. So
Man,
it's just a lot of sugar,
Whatever.
no fiber. You're not getting all that fiber anymore.
look, fuck the fiber, bro. Fuck fiber. Hey, yo, PSA to fiber. Fuck
You
your
don't need
couch.
it. Yeah.
Yo, straight up. Because this is how I see it, man. Like, as long as I'm getting most of the nutrients in my body,
Yeah, you are.
I
It
will
tastes
take
good
them
that way too.
however they.
I love a smoothie.
Dude, because like my girl would be like, "You don't eat vegetables." I'm like. Because when we cook a meal, she'll make vegetables, and I'll eat some of them, but I'll just focus on the protein and
Of
the
course,
carbs.
yeah, same
right?
here. Same here.
And then she'll be like, "You didn't eat your vegetables." I'm like, I drank like 3. I've eaten like twice what I needed to eat in vegetables.
vegetables.
I just drank it.
I drank it all
I
earlier.
so it to her, she doesn't understand. Like, I mean,
Slurped up my celery earlier. Ugh.
it's to me, I make my shit good, bro.
I'm sure. Yeah, you can
make my shit
mask it.
banging.
You can
Of
mask
course.
the vegetable taste because most vegetables just. I mean, they're
It's
just
water.
it's just a bland taste.
It's water.
You ever have V8 juice? That shit is not good.
Ugh.
It's not good.
Bruh,
I
no.
used to drink that V8 splash shit. It was just sugar, but the V8 juice is terrible.
I don't know why.
But I don't like
Who
what's the drink in the morning? Bloody Marys. Does that have
Oh,
V8
yeah.
in it too, or is that's actual tomato juice?
That's actual
nah,
tomato
I'm
juice.
good on that too.
Who
I like tomatoes, just not on sandwiches.
who are
that-
these people
That what like
that
that?
made
I
who-
saw a commercial the other day. They're like, it's vegetables in a can. Like,
Like,
it tastes like shit.
fuck all of
Tastes
that,
fucking awful.
dude? Who are the people who said let's put some juiced ass fucking tomatoes in a can and sell these to motherfuckers? And who are the motherfuckers? They were like,
Well,
yeah,
it was
nigga,
probably for kids at first because kids don't like eating their vegetables.
false.
All right, I'm
There's
gonna tell you
no
something.
kid
I'm gonna tell you
who's
something we
drinking
used to
that
do.
ass juice.
All right, so I don't remember what vegetable this is for,
Uh-huh.
but I was known not to like a lot of things as a kid. I don't like macaroni and cheese or mashed potatoes. Hopefully, people don't stop listening to the podcast after that.
Yo, I don't blame you. I'm about to walk the fuck out.
It's just the texture thing. Like I like a lot of the ingredients. I just don't like the texture of either. Like I love potatoes of all their forms, but I remember sneaking off from the kitchen table and saying, "Oh, I got to go to the bathroom," and like I had a handful of like whatever vegetable I didn't want and put it in the toilet and flushed it down real quick. And
So
somehow
savage.
when I got back, my mom knew I did that. I was like, son of a bitch. I don't think she told me till years later though.
Yeah,
I remember her telling me. I was
Yeah.
like, God damn,
Shit.
vegetables. Yeah, but that's why they probably created V8 juice for kids to drink it down. But it tastes awful.
But here's the thing.
And it doesn't have like 16 different kinds in there.
I mean, it has it's
Beets.
It's probably
Radishes.
the worst shit.
Oh,
Carrot juice. So you juice the carrot too, nigga? So like, I think this is the reason why I don't think it was made for kids, right? Because everything that they make for kids is just insane amounts of sugar.
well,
Anything
it is
that they make-
now, but back then
Not
it looks
even
like
back then.
I feel like
You ever ate an animal cracker?
V8's from back in like the 50s. Like it's old.
Where people were
Yes,
just, people were
animal
just hard.
crackers does have a lot of sugar because they don't
Yeah.
taste like they do. Because
Oh,
they
to
taste
me
like
they did.
nothing.
To me, they tasted like they had a lot of
I
sugar.
feel like they taste like
or
cardboard.
what about the golden bears?
Yeah,
Like,
those
oh,
have like
those were
honey,
crack?
like sugar on them. Yeah.
Oh my god!
But you're talking about plain animal
Yep.
crackers? Those were
I thought they had
those
a
are
lot
the
of sugar.
driest cookie of all
I
time.
loved animal crackers.
They were
dude.
made for kids, I think, just to like make
Torture
them
'em?
full. No, they're just like here's bread cookies. They're not even. They're terrible for you. They don't even have sugar. They're just. I mean, they're probably better for you than regular cookies.
No, it just bugs me out. Like, okay, I could see companies why they make these nasty ass drinks, but look, there's got to be a steady supply of income for them to keep making these drinks. So who are these motherfuckers who walking down the aisle like, oh shit?
I saw boxed water at the grocery store. They have that.
Oh yeah,
It's
oh
in a
yeah,
box.
I've been seeing box water.
I mean, it's odd.
I'm like, dude, who goes in search of tomato juice? Who gets off work like, bruh,
Grandparents.
my nigga, what you about to do?
Grandparents.
What you about to do, my guy?
It's an old thing, I think.
I'm about
It's
to turn up.
grandparents.
I'm about to turn up. What you about to do? Nah, nigga, I got this cold ass tomato juice in the fridge, bruh.
Nobody says that.
Who does that, yo? Who does that? But nah, it is something weird about the generation before us. They were just, and the like every
Couple
generation before us,
generations before us.
even our parents, they were just harder than we were. Like in terms of like they would eat their vegetables not
No
because
internet.
they enjoyed them. they would just like they would eat them angry.
Survive.
Like,
Survive. That's all it was.
Like our parents and our grandparents were just like different people. They just could deal with more shit. We just nerfed everything, and now we all soft as fuck.
Which brings me to my next point. I think we should have an age limit on people serving in office.
I completely agree.
I think
What age?
ageism should be fine.
Okay,
And
what
it's hard
age should
to
they
say.
start
It's
and
hard
what
to say.
age should they end?
Oh, I don't care about start.
Oh, well.
Okay, yeah.
So,
There's a couple things. Yeah, you're right. I don't want
13-year-old Donald Trump.
Yeah, I don't want that. Maybe 25-ish
okay.
should be the age or so for, being able to start as a politician. I don't know. You got to have some prerequisites of some kind.
Yeah,
but
okay.
in terms of limit, it's got to be, maybe you need to take a mental test. You have to take one every year. It's like you should also have to take the driver's test every year after you pass like 65. So maybe like, I don't know, 70, 75.
So you don't
maybe 65. I don't know.
So you don't think it would be better to do term limits?
Maybe I'm just saying for like now. I feel like a lot of the
get all
older
the-
politicians need to go because their views are outdated.
Mhm.
But it's hard to. I'm just trying to think of a way where it would keep people's views more in line with the changes that are coming about, not necessarily on one side or the other, but obviously both sides of the political spectrum, or however many sides there fucking are.
They're all necessary.
That they're all changing all the time, but there's people that aren't keeping up whatsoever. The government is way behind in so many things. So I don't know. It annoys me in two facets. People that make rules that hinder other people, like in the United States, and then people that drive real shitty, and they're old. I saw this dude driving this Jag earlier today, and he was old as fuck, and he was so proud of his old ass shiny Jag. And he was just creeping the fuck along on the on ramp. Everyone hated him.
Yeah. I mean, dude, I feel
Get
like once you get a certain age, you just deserve to just kill anybody you want. Just
okay.
You could just, if it's
These
in a
dudes are
car.
expressed by Ray, not Andrew. Once again.
No, I mean, that's obviously an exaggeration, but I just feel like once you get to a certain age, you just do what you want, man. And if you accidentally murder somebody,
I forgot what comedian it was. He was talking about like going out, like not going out, but like dying. If you're old, you might as well just speed everywhere, because if you crash, it's a great story.
Nick Swartzen.
Yeah, that's what it was for like grandkids to tell.
Yeah,
it's a great story for them. And plus, like, there's no, I mean, what other way would you want to go out? You don't want to just die in your bed.
Fuck that.
Although, I don't know, I like my bed.
Nah, fuck that.
I like my bed.
Tempur-Pedics are pretty comfortable to die in.
Sharks.
What if Tempur-Pedic, that was their new commercial? Great to die in.
Take your last breath with us. Fuck. That's bad.
That's fucking gold. That's gold. We gotta get Tempur-Pedic to sponsor this motherfucker, bro.
Tempur-Pedic, take your last breath with us. On us. Excuse me. Take your last breath on us.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I definitely agree with you that. So for me, in whatever form of office you hold, I just think there should be a limit. And I don't know. I wish there was a study that figured out at what rate change occurs societally. I don't know if you could necessarily measure that, but how long does it take for things to be different, right? In terms of views on gay marriage, on interracial couples, how long does that take to take hold as a global like acceptance? I wish there was some way to parse that out, and then if you could tailor government officials' terms to that.
Yeah.
Like, okay, every 10 years, that's when people's minds start being different. Okay, every 10 years, y'all motherfuckers just gotta go.
Trade them out. Trade them out.
Basically.
We got a bench. Bring in the bench.
Y'all gotta.
We've been training this bench up for the last 5 years on the new shit.
Yeah.
And then y'all, or maybe the ones that come out go back into rotation. They keep their job, but they don't have as much power.
Okay.
So they keep their job and they have to go back into like a learning program where they have to learn more about the new culture, because they've been so
I like that.
focused on the lawmaking and shit.
Yeah,
that's
I like that.
Current
And then by
now.
the time that they're ready again,
Rotate out.
the other guys are ready to rotate the fuck.
All we know is sports metaphors. That's sad.
So sad, dude. Because I think that would do our country some good. And also, here's another thing that might not be all that popular, but I think it makes sense, is that wherever you're governing in, the people who are the representatives, their demographics should match the demographics of the population. So if you are living
Sure.
in Iowa and there's nothing but white people, okay, have nothing but a white senator, blah 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 blah. Okay, cool. But if you're living in Louisiana where it's 70% black, well, 70% of your governing population, whatever capacity that is, should be black.
So what happens in 100 years when we're all Asian?
Where, or at least half. I don't know. Aren't we supposed to all be beige by 2050?
That's what I'm saying. Isn't that
We're,
Asian? Asian? No.
I mean, who is
It'll be a new thing.
It would
We'll
just
have
be
to. Oh,
Cobbling
we should
like
come.
Tiger Woods?
We should come up with the name
Tiger
here
Uh-huh.
of that new. Is that the? Is that the superior race? When they combine all the races together finally, superior race, and it's just one race.
How would
That'd
you
be crazy.
How would you make that happen?
Well, no, yeah, we're not.
I was about to just say
Yeah.
some really ratchet shit. I'm glad I
I'm
did.
just saying we got to come up with the name of what
Uh-huh.
this new combination race is going to be called, and then we'll go down in history as the people that made it, and then the podcast will take off. That's how it'll work.
I don't know. What it would, because Cablinasian can't be used because that's what they call Tiger Woods.
What is it?
Cablinasian.
I've never heard that.
Because of whatever his ethnicity was, because it's like his mom was Asian and like or Philippine like something, and then his dad was black and whatever. But the joke about it was Tiger Woods for the longest time refused to. I don't even know if he still does. Still refuses to. He never called himself black. He never called himself black. He was like, I'm not black. I'm.
He's a lot of things.
And it's like, dude,
I mean, at that point though, he's allowed to, right? He can kind of pick and choose based on where he's from. He could make
OJ
up
did it.
He could make up his own shit.
Bruh, look, two people who did that. OJ, Tiger Woods, who the prominent figures who were like, oh, no, I'm going with the whites on this one. Both of them. Look what the fuck happened.
Well, isn't Obama half white?
I believe so.
But he's the first black president.
Yeah, but
he's also the first mixed president.
But Obama owns his blackness.
I know, but I'm saying he's also the first mixed president.
Yeah. I wonder which
part. No one says that.
I wonder which half
that never comes out.
I wonder which half of him was running the country, and I wonder whether he switched halves. Like in the first 4 years, he was
kind of like the fake self that when you're at work, he's this white half.
And then he got off work, like, man, these niggas at work, man. I can't even explain. I can't.
That's when the weed comes out.
That's when he starts rolling the blunt. Hey, Michelle.
Well, you can't do it. You can't do it in front of the cameras.
Pass me that Dutch over there. Wouldn't that be dope as shit if that was Barack's personality?
Dude, I hope all the presidents get to unwind in the White House after that shit. I mean,
Bush did.
They better be doing whatever the fuck they want. If there's some like Secret Service agents, they're like, President, sir, that's illegal. You motherfucker, kill him.
all 12 of you. I went to you would
stone him
with your hands. Kill him.
Oh, you gotta watch Handmaid's Tale.
So I started to.
That's what they do. They stone each other to death.
Dude, I watched the first 5 minutes of episode 1 with my girl because I was like, we're gonna watch the first 5 minutes.
Are they running from the people?
Yes.
Oh, with the baby.
I was like,
it's super crazy.
Because we were about to pass out. I was like, we'll watch the first 5 minutes. If it's good, then we'll turn it off and we'll resume.
Oh, later.
First 5 minutes, we were like, you want to watch the rest of this shit, bro? But it was so late, we had to go to sleep and shit.
Yeah.
But like, yeah.
No, they hook you in right at the start. I was like, what the fuck is this?
What's going on? I was like, why is her baby black? I want to know all of the story. It seems so good, yo.
It's very complicated, but yeah. It's how the U.S. is heading for that, but
dude, I had a conversation today about like with somebody about like where they think it's headed, and this is why we talked earlier about the Me Too movement, how I talked about like how I'm concerned about seeing both sides of the thing, and I think I'm just people are like, oh, it's not that bad. I guess why I bring up topics like that and being able to speak as freely, whatever thoughts you have, be able to express them without feeling like
freedom of speech.
Right? And I'm just worried that is a demonstration of something that you having your speech curtailed will lead to more significant repercussions than I think we're giving its due. And I say that because I think the First Amendment is the most important one, which is the right to free speech. Because without
that the first one?
Mm-hmm. First Amendment is free speech. Because without that amendment, you can't have any of the others. if you cannot freely express,
Yeah, good point.
if you can't freely express ideas with each other, if you can't talk honestly with each other,
Yeah,
if you
like
can't,
revise that document.
if
That's my idea.
that's,
Revise that whole
yeah,
motherfucker.
whatever it may be. Look, like if it came down to this, say a KKK member and a Black Lives Matter or a black person were arguing, right? And forget all the other things that they may be arguing about. If the KKK member was for free speech and the Black Lives Matter guy was against it, I'm siding with the KKK member. That is how strongly my conviction is about free speech. Now, am I going to side with anything that this KKK member says? Absolutely
Well,
not.
I mean, you kind of have to have opposing sides to have sides at all.
True.
And if the KKK member in this example isn't allowed to speak, then there isn't an opposing side.
Right.
So then there's nothing to fight against almost. I mean, there's obviously other things to fight against other than the KKK, but it's not, it's, it's, you have to let people speak their ideas. Therefore you'll know exactly who you don't fuck with. I want to know who I don't fuck with. I have a perfect analogy. I think analogy is the right word. I don't know. I'm not that smart. Shit. The movie where they kill Nazis, and this is a great example.
Black Klansman?
No, it's the bloody one. Brad Pitt's in it.
Inglourious Basterds.
Yeah.
Bastards.
Yeah, where they talk about, like, they're like, are you going to go home? Like, what are you going to do after the war? And they're like, I'm going to go home. I'm going to just forget all about this. And they're like, are you going to take your uniform off? And they're like, yeah. And he's like, no, you're not. No, you're not. It's the same kind of thing. Like, it seems in the same, along the same lines.
Yeah, Sam Harris made a good point when I was listening to his podcast anyway, the other day, and he said, if you take someone like Alex Jones off of the airwaves and you really believe he's spreading these heinous ideas, and he's fucking hilarious.
He's crazy.
When he got high on Joe Rogan, it was amazing.
Yeah, he was crazy.
It was such a good conversation.
Yeah.
It's like when he's not being that crazy dude, he's actually like a kind of.
But I mean, some of the stuff he's saying as well, you kind of have to let him say what he says. And yes, he can be sued for, defamation?
Yeah.
Like if he says something about someone specific, but that's up to that person to do. He's allowed to just say whatever he wants. And people, a ton of people have made so much money on being outlandish and just saying crazy shit just to get a reaction out of people, whether they believe it or not. Yeah. And if they're playing a character, in my mind, I feel like he's always been playing a character.
Me too.
Maybe not.
That Joe Rogan podcast.
Maybe it's almost maybe it almost bleeds into his like real life, which sucks that would happen to people. But I'm sure it does.
Just like, when Heath Ledger killed himself because the character of the Joker, he took off of that. And basically, like what I was trying to say is that if you send someone like Alex Jones off of the web and into the abyss and into these depths, right, then you can't keep an eye on him. You can't keep tabs on him. And that's what Sam Harris was saying. Don't you want to know what the crazy person is saying?
Yeah.
Don't you want to know what ideas they're concocting and stirring together so you could be like, oh, that is about to spill over. Yeah, we need to address that.
We don't fuck with that. We need to.
Oh, that's too crazy.
Yeah.
That's too crazy. Yeah. We need to dial. Oh, you telling people to do what, where? Oh, nah, we're onto that.
You would almost think nowadays because who the president is that it would be more apt to have freedom of speech because this man says whatever the fuck he wants.
All the time.
He tweets whatever the fuck he wants.
And we're trying to, and because he's so free with his speech, we're trying to curtail everybody else's.
Yeah, it's odd.
It's so weird.
That's very weird.
I don't understand. It's funny. Okay, have you ever found people are funny to me, and I'm gonna use an example to illustrate what is funny to me. Have you ever found yourself, and I gotta struggle to figure out an example for this, where you keep doing the same thing over and over, even though you know it's wrong, but you get in this like mental lapse where like you just can't stop doing it. Like I know, so like I'll use.
Yeah, I think that's the definition of insanity.
No, but it's a little bit more. It's a little bit more than that. It's more of like a.
Do the same thing over and over again with the same results, like expecting a different one, but it's still.
Yes, it happens. I need to find a better example, but I'll use it for sports. Because it's just easier for me to explain. Like sometimes when I'm practicing my shot playing basketball, like I'll do this thing and I'm like, I know I'm doing it wrong, but like it's like somewhere in my brain is like fighting against
Like
me.
you're gonna break through,
Like,
even though you're doing it wrong, but that way is gonna break
like,
through as the
fuck
right
it.
way. Yeah.
Fuck it, and it's like a little like it's like when little kids, you know how little kids sometimes get grumpy and they do something and they know they're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
You know they're doing it wrong, but they're just like exactly like you said. They
They're gonna
think
keep
that
doing it.
somehow I'm gonna will this wrong way
Oh yeah, it's
to break
frustration.
it through. And it's fun.
Stubbornness.
And I think that's kind of what's going on right now with the whole Trump thing. It's like people are just stubbornly trying to break through this thing, even though we know it won't work.
Yeah.
It's like you can stop trying to make him stop talking by making other people stop talking.
That's weird.
That's not gonna work.
They're just trying random shit.
Like, what are you doing? Like, stop, little kid. Stop doing that. That doesn't work. Here, let me turn you slightly this way. Okay, now do it. Now
Yeah.
it works. And it's human beings, man. We're so complex yet so dumb at the same time. Human beings are walking dichotomies. How, like, take for example, have you ever wondered why you as an individual are very unpredictable, very hard to guess your shopping patterns, blah blah blah. But then, well, not anymore so much. Used to be. But as soon as I lump you in a group with other people, you're very easy to predict. Like, humans on an individual level are just, I don't know what the fuck this guy's gonna do. Oh shit. What? But if you take 50 people together, you're like, I got a good idea what most of you motherfuckers are gonna do. What is?
Yeah, polls are weird and like studies
Right.
like that, you know, where they only take very, very small groups, but they use that as the whole population's like sample size.
It's so weird.
Yeah, it is. I feel like with AI now, it's going to be easier. I don't know an example, but
Mhm.
in a context like to have people be in so many individual groups, like as many as they possibly want,
Mhm.
because they'll be able to sort through it more
Right.
with
right.
AI.
Mhm.
So it's almost like that's why I almost think there's going to be other, genders, races,
Mhm.
political parties, like what have you. Like
Mhm.
things could pop up. Who the fuck knows with science how it is now? I mean, there might be robot people that we got to figure out how to work with them.
I mean, given where they're trying to make AI go, that almost seems like a given, right?
Yeah. So it's just a matter of adapting with the times.
It's gonna be very hard to adapt
It's like
to,
those old people can't.
and it's gonna be hard for us.
I mean,
too.
how long do we have till we can't adapt anymore? We got like 20 more years, and then you're like, fuck, I'm done adapting.
Bruh.
I'm done.
I think you're
It's
already
quick.
there, sir.
No.
30 years old. I think once you're 30,
No.
that's my staunch belief.
You don't think any of your viewpoints ever change?
After 30? No.
Wow. You're not 30 yet, though.
I'm 29.
So you think yours are still changing
Yes.
up until the time?
No. I mean, I can.
Dude, I
can-
literally read something every day that changes a viewpoint of mine.
I,
I'm more apt now to learn and be molded and change my viewpoints than I ever was.
sure, but do you think all of a sudden you can be racist tomorrow?
No, but
Hey,
I mean
that's-
that's just
and that's
one
the-
specific thing.
No, but I'm saying fundamental changes like that are done. You're after 30, you're fucking
I don't
done,
thi-
man.
I don't think that. I mean that all depends on the person.
For the most part,
With that example with being racist,
Yeah,
I mean,
but sure.
try another example.
Sure, that's one example, but you can parse that out. I mean, okay, so do you think you'll start being gay after 30?
No, but I don't think that's a choice either.
It is for some people. I'm not.
Well, yeah, I guess some people choose to be gay. Sure.
Some
Yeah.
people, like I believe for the most part, 99% of people are born gay. But there is that segment of the
But I said
population. is just-
viewpoints. Neither of these are viewpoints.
What?
Being gay is not a viewpoint.
Why can't it be? If
Like-
you're choosing to be?
No, your viewpoint, your opinions on the world, like those is what I asked you about, and you said those can't change after 30.
Well, okay. Your peripheral. Remember Cat Williams? Peripheral.
It's a
Your
hard word.
peripheral opinions, I do believe, can change. But your core values, whatever those may be, I don't know
think
what
being
those
gay
are.
is a value either.
Or your core conceptions of the world, your core values, your core opinions of the world, I think are steadfast once you.
But I'd have to
for the most part,
I'd have
once
to
you
know
turn
what
30.
those are though.
I-
I'd have
so
to know what you consider the core like traits.
If you believe in God at 30, chances are you're going to believe in
Ooh.
God when you die.
I don't know about that because people have religious experiences all the time.
Look, of course they do. I'm not saying that this is a steadfast 100% rule. I'm saying for over 50% of people, if you are religious at 30, you are going to be religious when you die. Most people, most people's core beliefs and values and
I also
opinions
think
are.
that all depends on the time you grew up too, because they didn't have as much information 10, 15 years ago as we do now with the internet, and you can find out many more facts about
Don't think that
what's
matters.
true.
Look at old racist, fucking anti-gay, blah blah. What? Just name them all.
Yeah, but
They're
I don't
still
think that
way.
stops after 30 at all. That's a very young. If we're saying that your viewpoints aren't even developed in a way that you can serve some type of office and you're 25, you're telling me you have a 5-year period where you develop stuff and then rest of your life you have nothing.
Just about, yeah.
But that's just your opinion. There's no no facts to back that up whatsoever.
That is certainly my opinion, but I'm just going on like certain things. Like I said, I go on certain statistics such as, for most people, and again, I'd have to pull this up. I don't have the statistics on me. We could probably look this up at some point. But most people, when you are and we're gonna just use religion as a jumping off point. We can search other things, but most people who are religious at the age of 30 will live the rest of their lives that way. And I think, and that is a core value.
I don't think so. I think that depends on if they're married, if they're gay, if they have some type of religious experience afterwards, if they have a near-death experience. There's so many factors that could play into the part of whether they are religious or not religious.
But you can make the opposite, that yes, if I have a close death experience, it makes me even firmly believe in God more. And I'm saying, and I'm not like, I'm going to find the statistic and show you that I'm talking about across the board. It doesn't matter your religion, your sexuality, whatever. If you are religious at 30, there is an overwhelming percentage of people who will die religious who were religious at 30.
Okay.
And anything that is and that is one of those things that, like, if we were doing rings, right? And we had a big ring, a smaller ring, and religion is one of those that's in that smaller ring.
Okay,
and
so
whatever views and opinions that are in that smaller ring, they will stay that way.
What else is in there?
So how you feel about sexuality, like your opinions on like gay marriage and stuff like that, your opinions on your place in the universe, or whether you believe in whether aliens exist or something like that. And these are core beliefs and opinions to me, and they're gonna change from person to person. So I'm not saying that there are these specific things that will stay the same in each person, but whatever and yours are gonna be different from mine. But whatever you believe fundamentally to you at 30, there's an overwhelming chance that you're gonna believe the same thing when you die.
Okay.
And I'm not
I don't agree.
And I'm not talking about scientific stuff like I only believe that there's one species of elephant. That's like a wild one. But stuff like that, yes, for most people that are like, oh, they found new elephants and shit. Oh, okay.
I think that people prior to us had a lack of information, and now that people have a plethora of information all the time, they'll be able to change many things all the time.
So what about those people who didn't have that information that now do, and very few of their...
I think a lot of them refuse to use it.
Well, I mean,
the older generations of people, but I was asking where you think like your progressive ideas in terms of where you start thinking creatively still, where you keep thinking creatively, where you don't stop. Where is that period? So you're saying from 25 to 30 and that's it, nothing else. So I mean, wouldn't your opinion on the politician thing be that only 25 to 30-year-olds should be in those spaces?
Creativity is not like a core principle or belief. Creativity is more of a biological thing, right?
I'm talking about creativity within looking into other things, like branching out from what you know now, changing what you know by researching and life experiences going throughout your life. Yeah. You're telling me that no life experience is going to change you from the time you're 30 till you're dead?
Hell no. It will.
Any of your core beliefs whatsoever?
I believe that if an experience profound enough could change someone It can, but what I'm saying, it can go in either way. It can dig you. What if you're already religious,
Yes,
you have a
yes,
near death
yes,
experience,
this is a
and you
specific-
think you see God, like you're gonna believe even more in God. So it's not that you're gonna have these profound experiences, and that automatically means you're gonna change what you believe.
I'm just going back to you saying that you cannot change these core beliefs once you get past the age of 30.
I'm not saying you cannot. I'm saying that most people don't.
You said you don't originally.
Because most people don't. And I'm not gonna sit here and say I gave you that there's a small segment of the large enough contingent of the population who, as they grow and they go on in age, they'll change this belief to that belief and they'll just go and they'll be fluid with it. Most people don't do that, and it's whether, I don't know if it's they can't or they just refuse to. I acknowledge that people can, but most people do not. People can. You can. Of course, you can change, but most people don't.
You're making too many generalizations here.
I'm not making generalizations.
You use most, and you use most a lot.
Yes, I'm saying
You use most a whole lot.
I do use most because I stand firmly behind the belief that if you look up what we consider core values amongst the most of us and see their progression from the age of 30 until the day that they pass away.
There's no way to measure that.
Why can't you?
You can't measure that whatsoever. We
no,
talked about how small sample sizes are. There's no poll that polls everyone that from their beliefs of 30 till they're
time out. We need to poll
65.
We need to poll everyone to make generalizations.
No, but you are saying most of everyone. You're saying that most that would say almost everyone, correct?
Yes, that means I'm saying no. When I say most, I mean above 50%.
Okay, so most people don't change their beliefs after 30, but
yes.
That's all based on your previous experiences with people that you know, not based on facts of any kind.
Not only that, I'm saying that based on statistical facts about, and I'm gonna keep using religion because it's the one that I have ready in my mind right now. And I'm using statistics that I see based on where people are when they're 30 and where people are when they're 60. If they're religious, then statistically speaking, they will be religious at that point as well. And I'm just using religion as a jumping off point. And yes, I am making a bit of a leap to say I think it applies to most other things, but religion is such a core tenet to most people. It's such a core value, just like your atheism is to you. Like
It's not though. It's a lack of a value. There's nothing there.
Okay, but would you put something there in 10 years from now? Would you all of a sudden start saying, I believe in God?
It all depends on
given the
life
right experience.
experiences.
Yeah, given the right experience.
Say someone proves that God's real, then yes.
Okay. So given the right experience, yeah, all right, I see that. We're not going to argue that because that makes sense, right? But what I'm saying is, yes, I'm making gross generalizations. I understand. But I am willing to jump off a ledge, and my jumping ledge is religion. I'm using that ledge I'm willing to die on that sword.
I wouldn't say I disagree that most people know whether they believe in God or not by the time they're 30.
Mm-hmm. And then it stays that way.
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Yes, and I'm saying for most people, it will stay that way, and the likelihood of it changing is very slow. But you also said
all of your core beliefs don't change after the time you're 30 for most people. I'm just saying you're making gross generalizations about all these people that aren't changing it's almost in a negative way, like that they can't change, like that people above the age of 30 can't have, which you're about to hit, can't have progressive opinions or opinions that are going to change throughout time. Not even just opinions, but core beliefs, whatever those happen to be.
I'm not saying that people can't. If I'm giving that assumption, then I am grossly misspeaking. I am not saying people are incapable of changing. I think people are capable of doing anything. That is, I will always stand behind that. What I am saying is that most people do not. And I am not a scientist, so I can't tell you if that's some biological trait that makes it so that most people are incapable of changing, or whether it's something that people choose not to do. That I don't know what it is. And I'm not saying that for most people they can't change. For most people, they will not change most of their opinions once they're 30. Simple. That is true for most people, I believe. And yes, I drew that statistical reference from the statistics I read about religion and how religion is in people's life throughout their lifetime. When you're between the ages of like whenever you become aware of religion and its place in your life until like the age where your prefrontal cortex develops and then you have some time to figure out what's going on up there, you're very amiable. Is it amiable? Is that the word? Or where you're
Malleable?
Fucking amiable, malleable, where your opinion is very, it's flexible. It's likely to change. But then once you get to a point, you just stop. And I don't, and I'm
I
not.
guess I'm the opposite. I have a more optimistic view that people will keep learning and try their best to make sure that they have the best information at all times and not be lazy to just not have the best information at all times. To purposely not view things in order to stay in the place that they're in.
So what about our society in general gives you that optimism?
My daily interactions with human beings.
Mm-hmm. So like, here's a good example in your own personal life. You talk about how you and your dad have been having the same discussion for X amount of years, and that brick wall you've been running up against.
Mm-hmm.
It is my belief that most people are like him.
Yeah, a lot of people are older. A lot of older people are hard-headed as they did not have access to the information and still don't use it.
But
still don't use.
So your dad doesn't use the internet.
He rarely does. Rarely.
But if people were that willing,
they read the news just like they always did.
Uh-huh.
Just like it would be a news. My dad still reads the newspaper every day.
But shouldn't what happened with Facebook tell you that like
that? And that's what I'm talking about. Like, people use these social media things. That's not the way for people to change and become better versions of themselves by being on those social media platforms. I'm talking about being more informed about things.
But that's where we get our information now.
Is it information? It's
but this is what I'm saying.
It's more opinion based than anything.
Right, but most people under the age
That's
of
the
like
internet for them.
But check this out. Most people under the age of what it was like 35, something like 70% of the voters got their from Facebook. Those stats might be wrong, but got their news about and their opinions about who they're going to vote from Facebook.
It was half the reason I got off.
Yeah, and it didn't
too much.
It's not like it came in and it was this great equalizer that changed. No, people went to their side and their side, and they stayed put.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's those older people that are on those social media platforms.
Were under the age of 35.
Okay, those are people. Maybe those are people that you interact with, but those aren't the people that I interact with on a daily basis. And I'd like to think that there's a lot of people that aren't in our age group, or even, I don't know, lower than 50, between 30 and 50, that are still trying to progress.
I would hope so, but I mean,
because if not, then there's a whole lot of politicians that are just sitting there doing not a goddamn thing.
Yeah. That's my whole point. And like think about it, like, you know, so like we like to think about the Democratic and Liberal Party as the progressives and people who are moving forward and so on and so forth. But like, I mean, if you look at statistics, like majority of college educated white men and women voted for Trump, right? So it's like the people who you're claiming have the access to the technology to think differently don't.
No, every single person almost in this country now has access to some type of device that can get them on the internet.
Yes.
So everyone has access. Mm-hmm. Everyone.
So, but and here's my thing.
There's no excuse for not having that information. Obviously, there's other things that are more important than having that information. Yeah. I'm just talking about as a person evolving in a positive way, that to where you're not closed off to new ideas when they come about. When new things come about, you have to be ready for them, because that's constantly what's going to happen. It's our society is never not going to change.
Of course.
It's never going to just all of a sudden be stagnant until we're gone.
Yeah.
Then it will be. But I mean, you always are going to have to deal with some sort of change. And in order to do that, you have to be willing to evolve your opinions based on something that you may have never seen coming whatsoever. I mean, these people that have the opinions that you say aren't going to change, there could be some event that does change that we don't see coming. But then people looking back in history, that's all they know. Obviously, it's from that point on. So you can see that during that time, those people had a specific reason for wanting to follow those guidelines. But now that there's this new event that happens, you gotta change your
You
ways
gotta
of
adjust.
thinking.
And yeah, you know, I and again, I don't know if it's I have if I'm pessimistic about humanity. I don't think I am.
A lot of people are.
I believe in human beings on an individual basis, but like again, I think something happens when you get into groups. We still end up falling into the same patterns, and I think maybe something like significant enough as like finding aliens or a meteorite
Yeah,
hitting the earth will
maybe.
probably be the only thing that could get us to like make those changes that you're saying we're capable of making.
Mm.
And I think we're capable of making them. Let me add that caveat. Again, I think we are more than capable of changing anything about us at any time. But I do not believe that most people truly make the effort to, or that even most people can. I mean, so like an example of like, I mean, look at how hard people try to stop drinking, try to kick habits. I mean, try to stop lying, try to stop eating bad. I mean, there's just so many, even what we would call minuscule or small ways in which people try to make changes that aren't even to their core values or beliefs, just habits. People can't even do those.
Yeah, but I think it's easier to make a mental shift in terms of how you interact with other people. That seems to me at least to be an easy one to where everyone can make sure that they, I don't know, try to at least see the value in others. And I mean that's what you're talking about with free speech. Really, it's you got to let them talk in order to figure out whether you find that valuable or not.
True, true.
You got to give people time to flesh their ideas out, and making quick judgments isn't always going to be the best course of action.
No, you're right, and I think the fear is if a fear like mine, if a concept like mine got misused, or if it just got taken to the level too far, you'd be like any person who makes a mistake after 35, fuck them. There's no hope.
Yeah.
Throw them in the jail. Throw away the key. And I get how that can. I get the logical end of my argument. Um, but all I can say to that is, I guess that I get a lot of people do change, but there's a reason why the recidivism rate for people who are locked up is like very high.
Yeah, I mean, I understand there's a difference in terms of people committing crimes versus what I'm talking about, though. It's obviously people commit crimes for various reasons, and some are for probably honorable reasons. It's the only thing they have.
Yeah.
And in terms of maybe stealing or something, not murder, you can't just the only thing you have is not murder.
Right.
Hopefully, but
let's hope.
Yeah. But I'm just saying, it's just. To me, it's, I don't know, maybe I've made a shift in my recent years, even after turning 30. And that's why I'm so passionate about it that, I still think that you can, I don't know, change, not core. I don't know. We'd have to exactly narrow down what the core values are. Maybe next time.
Of course,
all the core values of humans.
Yes.
But, and maybe a lot of them don't change, but I still think it's possible just based on unforeseen things that are going to happen, as well as just me being optimistic. Maybe I
think we agree, honestly. I think it's just our language, right? Because I agree with what you're saying.
We're instigators. We're supposed to be debating. So.
I know. I think because I agree, but I think the part where we're a little bit different is I'm just saying like most people don't and most people won't, and you're saying like, yeah, it's true that most people don't, but I believe that most people can. Where I think the where our difference lies is in they won't.
Yeah.
And
maybe.
You're saying take that. You're saying everything else is true. Take that shit out. And I'm saying everything else is true. Keep that shit in. You know what I'm saying? I gotta take a leak, dude.
That's good. That's a good place to end. I think.
Right, let's do that.
Well, this has been I guess episode 2 of fuck me, Revolutionary Instigators.
There it is.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Signing out.